Welcome, everyone, to the Wisemen, Episode 3. I am Rod Slasher Breslau. I am here with my co-hosts, Hiko, Steele, Sean Garris, and welcome back for the very first time, Swiggy to the show. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody.
Hallelujah! Welcome back.
Wait, we have a six.
Bro, what the heck did I just witness?
What just happened?
That was kind of sick. Yeah, it's nice to be here.
You know,
I'm sorry that I missed the others.
We have things going on. We have soundtracks now. Okay, we have audio clips. We have even producers to yell for your return. So we're very excited. Very
Dude,
excited.
I like that I'm in the middle as well. This is nice.
Yeah, you're
front
blocking our
and center.
Lotus.
So
Sorry.
it means that you have to talk the most this episode. You're
Yeah,
starting all the conversation topics. You're
You're
doing
hosting.
all the introductions, everything.
I probably should look to the run of show then, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
You're actually going to be moved. That's supposed to be me. Maybe we'll just keep you there because you are the star this week. Steele was the star last week. Definitely not this week. We're gonna
I
talk
feel
about it a
like
little
I feel like we should keep him over you there.
bit. Yeah, you would say that.
What? Look how beautiful his face is, man. Like I don't know, man. Whatever. You always have to turn into some negative thing.
That's Rod. Can we get something figured out? Is this episode 3 or episode 4?
This
It's
is episode 3.
3.
The very first one we did last year,
Doesn't count.
that was just a test pilot thing. That's
Okay.
not episode 1. It's a test pilot.
Okay. I see how it is.
Yeah, that's the pilot. Officially, this is 3.
This is season 1, episode 1. That was a
Yes.
test pilot.
Yes.
Okay.
Holy
Knows how
shit.
Get
long
right
seasons go?
into it, boys.
Rod,
Maybe
did
this
you
will be
make this
lost.
run of show? Did you make this
And-
run of show?
No, he did not.
Razor helped. Oh, maybe all of it. Maybe
The
entire
formatting?
thing.
Yeah, it looks
Possibly
way too
did the
good.
entire
Yeah,
thing.
this is professional.
I did the topics and and each of the headlines, but she did all the graphics and everything that makes it look good. That's all her.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Honestly, she did everything, not me. I don't do anything on this show. You guys do all the content. She does all the production. Sarko does all of the hard work. I just kind of sit here and take all of your clout and do nothing.
That's crazy. You haven't said one original thought yet. Everything you've said is written down by her in this file. That's insane.
Uh-huh.
You're just like a puppet.
You know it. It's pretty much my entire purpose here on Twitch. So Swiggy, where have you been?
I can't say. Why are you asking these questions? I've been
Where have
busy.
you been? We're all in the dark. We want to know where'd you go off to?
I've been busy. You'll find out soon. I can't actually say too much.
Ooh.
But yeah, I've
okay.
been in another country for a bit. I guess I can say that.
Fuck. Can you give the continent?
Put two
That gets a
together.
bit too much, Sean. People are
So you're coaching an APAC team then? That's insane.
It's almost like Slasher. Never mind. That's not even. Josh remembers. Sean remembers.
Yeah,
I
there's been
remember.
some
What?
leaks. There's been some leaks
There's
on,
been
A leaky
on the
faucet.
pod.
On
there's a
loose.
definite leaky faucet
Nope.
in our midst.
Nope. I'm just a hype man.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't
then.
do leaks there.
Okay.
I don't
So-
do leaks there.
Moving on.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, on today's show, we are going to be again week 2 previewing VCT. Today we have very special guests. Gustavo Melao, who is the VCT host of Brazil. He is going to be here to defend the home country for lock-in this week to tell us if Loud is going to repeat and if Furia or MIBR are going to be able to put up any of the show, and if Sentinels is a Brazilian team or an NA team. It probably depends if they win or if they lose. And then later on, we're going to be having on VCT EMEA host Yinsu Collins, and most likely 65 to a 69% chance we will have on FNATIC IGL Boaster. That depends if Mini allows him to come on the show after VOD review or not. So most likely, but maybe not. Small
So,
chance.
They
Small
need to
chance
make
not.
as little amount of mistakes in practice today, so they have less things to go over in VOD review. They
Yeah,
need
it's
to- need to
5
make sure
p.m.
that
right
they don't
now.
spend- Yeah.
Ugh,
Can't
it's
be
not
doing
good.
20 minutes per round, you know what I mean? You ever have those days where you're just like on one round for 20 minutes?
Every time I look at a VOD, I'm on around for 20 minutes. People get so mad. He was so mad at me.
You should have seen Old 100 Thieves. You'd not be on one round for 3 hours. We'd have a fight. Next thing you know, the entire practice is wasted on one round, one topic.
We change our entire default because one person is getting Sova droned. Like, I can get droned.
I would always have I would just have clips that I thought would be like a one and done. Like I would say something and everyone would just agree with me, and then like you
Yeah.
say something and there's like 5 other opinions on it, and then it goes on for like 30 minutes. And like, oh man, like that's all of our time gone on like the smallest detail.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know
and
about
then
you guys, but like,
Someone talk
the-
shit.
yeah, I think the worst for me is like you're talking about like a whole round and like why like this is good or this is bad or whatever, and like this is like the solution, and then nobody like, hello, is anyone even listening right now? Like I just talked for like 60 seconds. Are we good?
Yeah, I think Rod and I were talking. No, maybe not. Maybe this was like 2 days ago. Yeah, when like we would do practices, I would purposely ask like stupid fucking questions, like questions that we would probably all know the answers to, but just to make sure people were listening, and like make sure everyone had the same like answer, right? Like create basically like a dictionary for
Like
the
a
team.
pop quiz.
Yeah.
This was so we actually ended up implementing like Discord voice chat. Everyone puts their webcam on just so you can check that everyone's actually paying attention and looking when you're doing the VOD reviews. Just so you can look at everyone's camera, see if everyone's picking up the phone and stuff. It's like I'm babysitting again. It was wild.
It still doesn't help. Like it's best when you're just like watching their screen and then you just get flashes of light on their face because they have like a
No.
dark room and then just like
Yeah.
the screen just flashes in their face. Wonder if this guy's still on the VOD review or not.
Well, for Sean and Sliggy, I guess I have a question for both of you because you both were coaches at some point. Maybe one, sooner than others, but with it seems like the average
Kinda make
age
it
of
awkward there, huh?
yeah, I was trying to think what I needed to say. With the average age of pros being younger now, much younger, I'm sure. I mean, Sean's team for sure that he was coaching a bunch of teenagers. How do you keep them involved and invested? Because I can tell you that with even one of the teenagers that you were coaching, it seemed very hard to get people of that age to buy in and focus in for multiple hours. What I know you said, Sean, that you would ask them questions, but like, how do you keep a young child? And a young child is with quotes. maybe not like that. They're young. They're young.
And
to
you
us
wonder
here.
why they call you old man.
That's fine. I'm just playing into it at this point, but how do you keep them bought in for multiple hours at a time? Because it is not fun to sit there and practice. It is not fun to go over strats. It's not fun to VOD review. It's not fun to go back over your tapes. How do you keep them focused and not just zoning out on their phones, messaging their friends, minimizing and playing Minecraft, whatever?
I think it's important to like build the culture so that way you know what's expected, right? Like you make it obvious that you shouldn't have phones during practice. And obviously I can't control what the players do when we're playing online. Like I remember one day Will was like, yeah, Austin had told me, and like he's like, can I tell him, Peter? And he was like, yeah, whatever. He's like, Peter watches practice from bed. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like as long as he's listening, and he is, like he's actually taking like part in the practice, that's fine. As long as you're not looking at your phone, you're not doing those things, that's good. Always having practice like at specific times, like within the schedule, like the same time before scrims every day, like 2 hours. Knowing that after the game, we're probably going to talk about it for a while, so be ready for that conversation. And just like, I don't know, they know how I watch VODs. They know it's gonna be like 30 minutes per round, like what Steele said earlier. So all that stuff really matters. And then I think making sure all the players feel heard is important. Otherwise they check out. So if like they have a complaint, making sure they say it in the right way and making sure everyone hears it in the right way. So that way, they don't feel stepped all over and then they don't check out later on in the day. I feel like those are like the important things.
Yeah, definitely making sure they're included is like the main one, just making sure that they have a voice and can kind of say stuff and people are listening. And then I think like VOD reviewing after and just calling people out. And then obviously if they didn't like listen to strat time and stuff like that, you can just be a bit more vocal and kind of be like, why? And actually just have like call them out in front of people and kind of say they're letting other people down. But I definitely know like the big one that I struggled with was anti-stratting. Like we used to have long anti-strat sessions. Like I felt like I went in real hard on anti-strat sessions. I ended up doing like, I used to do like 10, 15 minutes preview. And then just because people wouldn't pay attention or it'd be like too much information we'd lose and stuff, I ended up making like, with Bacon's help, we ended up making just like 1.5 minute just YouTube videos of just like breakdown of just in between each map. And that was like, I found that was a lot easier for them to kind of digest in terms of like the anti-strat, just put it into a video that's that always reaches out to them. They understand the videos.
So once people are checked out, though, have you either of you found there's a way to get them to be bought back in for the day, or is it just kind of like I mean I speak from 100 Thieves. Once it seems like once one person was checked out, that was pretty much a wrap for the day. Like we really like the rest of the scrims, the rest of the practice time. It's just kind of a joke. It's just everyone's kind of doing their own thing. We have somebody spamming a Sage Wall with an Odin while someone's trying to talk. It's like, bro, like, come on now. Like, how do we stop that? So have you guys found
Everyone has
ways to
kill?
yeah, like have you found ways to like get people to be bought back in, or are there just days where it's like, okay, like this is a wrap. Like let's just get into the scrims, just go deathmatch, go do what you need to do. I'm sure it's probably more organized now than it was a year and a half ago, or even just a year ago, but I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yeah.
I had the same issues as what you were saying, pretty much. Definitely some days were just write-offs, like for sure, just write-offs. I felt like there was a lot of times at the beginning where I would just have to do like a speech and just kind of it would help. It would help a lot of the time when players would hold everyone else accountable. But I felt like pretty much once every week I would be doing the same speech one day, in terms of just like getting everyone's concentration and just kind of just saying that this isn't good enough. So yeah, eventually that kind of lost power over time as well. So it definitely helps when players are vocal and everyone's kind of bought into the system, like Sean was saying, because I think it has a lot more impact coming from like one of the actual 5 in the team.
Yeah. No,
I
I agree. Having the IGL able to like take that voice and step up and kind of communicate your thoughts as the coach. Like Stellar did a really, really good job of that. There was very few days where I think Stellar had a disagreement with one of the other like older people on the team, like Derek. I think it maybe only happened like once. And like those were like kind of like awkward days, but I don't think we ever lost practice because, like you say, you just give like a talk like that's like unacceptable. And if you maintain a normal demeanor day in day out, when you do get disappointed, it resonates a lot with the players. Like that's what I noticed. Like whenever I would get mad, they'd be like, "Holy fuck! Like we actually pissed him off. Like this is not good." You know, like and then they would listen, and like the next day, everything would be fine, or like the next scrim, everything would be fine. But yeah, you will lose focus for like a scrim, and you kind of just have to let that happen and go through, you know, the problems with that. I agree though. There's some scrims are just lost.
Yeah, for sure. And something that you actually said there that kind of resonated with me a lot is literally the day the day after you have like a big conversation like that was always so good. So it was literally just like
Yeah.
you're kind of getting rewarded for doing these kind of outbursts of being disappointed and stuff like that. So yeah, I always remember every time I had like a just like a 15 10 minute feud where I'm just like talking just like about how it must be better and stuff like that. The next day was always incredible. So definitely it definitely had impact.
Ronnie, just buy a smoke.
We all remember that one.
That was
Do you
a
guys
good
find
one.
it
That was a
difficult
classic one.
if the IGL and the coach are the two people that are fighting? Does that make it the hardest?
Josh,
Look
Look at me.
Josh,
Why
what
are
do
you
you
looking
think?
at me right now? Well, like everyone was
Steal?
fighting on that team. Everyone was fighting, so don't even like bring that up. Like that was just like a wash. We're putting our jet, our main default on ascent is 3 people mid, and our Asuna on jet is just holding a main push from T spawn. Yeah, that's a really good plan, guys. Yep, I'm not gonna push back on that one at all. Yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest thing is that everyone is able to kind of like agree on like a philosophy and a system and just buy into it. And whether that comes from the coach or the IGL, I don't think it particularly matters as long as like everyone agrees and everyone buys into it. And people in the general community don't understand like how big of an impact it is if one person doesn't fully buy in, or if you're in a game, like you're in a match and you practice something a certain way in practice for so often, like, this is the game plan on this map, this is how, like, our map philosophy, this is our overall philosophy, this is how we approach these situations, this is how we react if we get this certain info, and everyone's doing it, and then, like, you're in a match and suddenly, like, someone's, like, not doing it, the whole structure crumbles. Like, it doesn't work if, like, one person's not like, following through with whatever the plan is. And I think when it comes to, like, coaches and IGLs, like, this is very, very new for Valorant. Like, in CS, we didn't have coaches back in our day. It was the IGL and the players, and you just, like, bounce the ideas like that. And now when coaches come in, it's, like, very weird because it's like, well, who's in charge of the strategy? Is it the coach or is it the IGL? And, like, some teams it's going to be the coach because the IGL is going to be less experienced, and other teams it's going to be the IGL because the coach is more like a more of like a mental thing or like structural thing, or like you guys have to, like, regulate your day with doing other activities, eat healthier, sleep better, sleep at, like, a more consistent schedule, all this other stuff. But when it comes to in-game strategy, I'm here to make sure that you're not just, like, sitting on one topic for, like, too long, making sure that when you're talking for too long, you're taking, like, a few minute breather so you guys can, like, relax, let the emotions cool down if people are getting into it. If people are, like, pulling up their phone and going on, like, TikTok or something like that, and they're just, like, not even paying attention, give them 10 minutes, just go and run around, and they come back after 10 minutes and they're refocused. There's different types of coaches. So a coach like Sean or Connor here is just like, they're probably going to be more into the strategy thing, especially if they have an IGL that either is like-minded or is a younger inexperienced IGL who is actually learning stuff, and then someone who is more of a veteran IGL that's coming in that has a coach that might be just as veteran or less experienced, that has, like, a completely different take. It's just like, well, whose philosophy and whose, like, game plan are you going to follow? Is it going to be this person's or that person's? And if the team's split, and if the team says one thing, but then, like, there's, like, pushback on, like, other elements of it, it's just like, who do you follow? Like, oh, we're following this guy, like, 90% of the way, but on these other things, like, we're following this person. It's like, how do you do that?
Do you guys think that if you have a really veteran IGL and a really experienced veteran coach, that is a benefit for that team, or is there real potential for problems because they're going to butt heads on overall strategy and what the game plan should be?
If they're on the same page, I think it could be good. But if they're not on the same page, then I think it could be a little rough. I'll let Spencer talk more about that or something.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they're not on the same page, it's super rough. I don't think maybe your guys' team was like that, but it was never like that on 100 Thieves. Like, I made it a thing where even the first practice, I didn't go over anything. Like, I wanted the players to buy into whatever Stellar had to say, so I kind of just gave him the floor. And obviously, like, whenever he wanted to pursue an idea, he always had first right with that as the in-game leader. So I think the coach should always defer to the in-game leader, because if you cross the in-game leader wrong and they lose faith in you, and ultimately they're the ones that are going to call the shit that you create. So you have to have a pretty good working relationship with the IGL. So I would put the blame on the coach if that relationship goes sour, actually. And I think they need to have a good relationship.
Did you say the same, Sluggy?
Dude, Sean said literally everything I was going to say, so I'm just in there like, yeah, that's fair.
You just say ditto then.
Yeah, it was a straight up ditto.
Ditto.
And to be fair, Sean, your 100 Thieves is way different than Steel and Hiko's 100 Thieves. Steel and Hiko had pretty much 4 or 5 cooks in the kitchen with 10-plus year Counter-Strike veteran experienced players. And somewhat, I think Frost is a great guy, maybe a little bit inexperienced as a coach, even though I think he's gotten more experience as of now, where you pretty much had all young players and you were able to kind of mold what would happen. Even Stellar does not have nearly as much playing experience as the old 100 Thieves team.
Meanwhile, Sliggy had no cooks. He had just
but I
a chef of people eating.
Yeah, I kind of like that. And the actual when I found that it wasn't working is when I gave them more freedom. Like when I was like, you guys need to bring some more stuff. And when that started happening, I was like, oh no. And then everyone was cooking, and then we just did some mad stuff. And then I was like, okay, I'm just taking the blame for all this, I guess. But yeah, honestly, when it was just all my stuff and no one else had to say, I loved that, man. Like last chance qualifier and stuff like that. When I was like super pumped for all the stuff, dude, it was fun. It was cool. Everyone like bought in. Everyone, because no one wanted to do it, right? No one wanted to do the strats or anything like that. So it kind of worked out great. And then I was like, yeah, you guys should actually have more of a say in this stuff. And then yeah, that's when it all started getting a bit mad.
I guess that's a reap what you sow moment there.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But I think it's a good like segue into the fact that like coaches' roles are so different depending on what your team is. Like you're literally just like filling the void of what the team needs. So that's why it's like some coaches can be like really good, but if they like let's use okay, I'm gonna use me as an example. Like if I went to FNATIC, I'd be relatively useless. Like Boaster does everything that like I really like doing, and so it's like that's what I believe that I'm the best at, and that's what he already excels at. So, a team that need like more heavily strap-based stuff, I think I would fit into well. So, you can be a good coach, but it could like not be a good fit for you, I guess, in certain teams.
Do you think
How
we'll break that
important?
mold? Do you think we'll ever get to the point where it is more standardized? Like once the more experienced in-game leaders kind of leave, is it going to be the coach is the in-game leader, or is it still, I feel like most traditional sports, and people hate the comparison, but most traditional sports, the coach pretty much has the same role. Like the coach is the caller, we'll say, right? He makes the strats for basketball, for football, for anything. Do we think that that's where the game will head eventually, or is it still going to always be we need different styles of coaches? Like we've all said now, like Josh said too. Some coaches are more cheerleader coaches. Some coaches are more the hip hip hurrah behind the cheer. Let's get super hype. Let's make sure everyone's just being happy. And some are the more tactical like masterminds where they are making the strats and they are in charge of everything. Do we think that it'll ever actually be standardized and it will be just the coach is the IGL and there's like there's a player IGL that's just kind of like the pawn of the coach, or is pawn of the coach, or is it going to be dynamic for different teams?
We've
I
kind of
think it'll
already
always
seen
be
this, haven't
dynamic.
we?
Yeah.
We've seen this in CS with the coaches that if they could talk during the game, then you just eliminate the IGL. You just have the coach like call, and then you just get 5 really mechanically skilled players. But then as long as there's a situation where only the 5 players in the server can talk, I feel like they don't get phased out.
I think that's fair.
I
Yeah, I
cut
think
Sean
that's
off,
fair.
so I'll let him. I can let him.
Because I felt like I had the system closest to what you're talking to. Like like to make the calling easier for us, I would have like 3 set rounds. Like we would have been pretty easy to anti-strat. Like if you have this ult, you have like these 3 set rounds that you can do. Like one's good for low buy, 2 are really good for the full buy. Then you would have anti of like if they have this ult, and you just have loads of set ults, and it's literally just like, what have we got? What have they got? Let's call one of these set things. So I think it's doable, but in terms of like longevity, it doesn't. I don't think it can last. I think you have to have that person like on the server that knows what they want to do and how to kind of implement it best.
How important do you
Yeah.
guys think the coach is to winning a championship? I mean, we'll talk a little bit later with Gustavo about Lav's chances, who I still think, for me, is the favorite going in to Sao Paulo. For those of you who don't know, legendary Counter-Strike 1.6 player and maybe friend or not of the show, Fraud is the head coach of Loud. How much of his role is going to be because they're going to be champion? Fraud has had, I feel like, an up and down career as a coach since his playing career ended. He's done some Overwatch coaching for FaZe. Did not exactly go so well. Moved into, some CSGO, then moved over to Valorant. Now has landed with, I think, the best team. I don't really know how much I'm going to accredit Fraud to Loud winning a back-to-back title if they do, but maybe I'm wrong, and he should deserve more of it.
The players were pretty vocal, right? Saying that he did a really good job.
Yeah.
I saw a few of them shout him out, so I think he did really good. I think, yeah, the coach is responsible for a good amount. it's one of those things where the coach role is like you're quiet when you win, but you have to be vocal when you lose. So it's just that role. But in terms of like the background stuff, yeah, I reckon he would have done a good amount. It's so nice having like an extra eye or just eyes on practice and just seeing the little things that are going wrong. Um, there's so many there's so much little nuances and so much fundamentals in this game that you need to like learn and think of, that it's so good to just have someone that has a good amount of experience like Fraud and can kind of just pick up them and just give his view on it.
I mean, even deeper than just a coach, like even on 100 Thieves, like we had a sports psychologist, we had chefs, like we had a compound. I think all of that comes into play. All of that comes into like the less stress and the less focus that needs to be diverted away from gaming that these players can have nets the best results, right? Maybe everyone doesn't agree. I think it's kind of obvious, but
I
Yeah.
mean, the less things that you have to
the less
focus on,
right.
the easier it is to focus on the things that you need to focus on. If you have to think about like, we didn't have a chef, or at least when
Oh, I'm
I
not
was
saying
listening, we
yeah,
didn't.
I'm not
The LCS guys, maybe they did, but we didn't. We sat there wasting 30 minutes every day arguing about where we're going to order food
that
from.
is true.
So I mean,
You're a
that
big
is
DoorDash team.
so that was like a definite like, okay, we're just wasting time because we're arguing about like where we're gonna order food from. And that's like 30 minutes that you could have spent actually like doing something useful.
Mm.
So I think the more, yeah, like the more people that could have eyes on something that you can't see. So talking from an IGL perspective, for example, I can't pay attention to like all the little like tendencies that my other teammates show, whether it be like sentinel utilities placed in certain areas, and that's like a huge tell to the, like if they watch one VOD and they see like, oh, he always sets up like this when they're doing this, and I can't always pay attention if I'm like also like doing my own thing, focusing on my crosshair, focusing on like what's happening on my part of the map or like my part of the pack. Like I can't focus on like all the little things that people show, all the little tendencies. And when you have a coach that could like kind of like sit back and kind of like zoom out and see the macro a little bit more, they can see like the little tendencies. They can focus on like the player development, like, hey, I noticed that you do this too much or not enough of this, or you're too quiet and whatever. And like, hey, I was like spectating you and like you clearly heard this stuff happening but you weren't relaying it to your teammates. Like all of those things can be done by people that are kind of like taking a step back, but when you're kind of like involved in the game, it's harder to see. So yeah, more eyes are always going to help if they know what to look for and they have their own like role cut out for them.
Yeah, I will say it would help a lot if there could be multiple people in the server or like demos. Because something I found a lot, I don't know if Sliggy felt this way, but you're the only person in the server on your team that can spectate, right? There's only one coach slot. And I would find myself watching like the center of hits a lot. Like almost like an observer, right? Like I'm following, like I was like the GOAT observer. Like I wouldn't miss a single fucking kill some of these rounds. Like, but then I would miss a lot of info that was going on from like the lurks. Like, are they hitting timings? Are they playing correctly? Are they using util properly? Like in that regard, it's a little quirky as a Valorant coach because you have to really pick and choose what you want to watch, and you need a large sample size before you kind of bitch or say that something needs to change. So oftentimes I would watch like the center of hits, even though I kind of wanted to spend a lot of time watching lurkers. Because then you also have, I'm not sure if Sliggy had this, but I had like Mike watching, or say if Mike would run the stream, I would watch Mike's stream, his private YouTube stream. And you have to deal with someone else watching your point of view. So if I just sit there quietly and watch like the lurker for like 12 rounds, you know, like Mike's probably like, what the fuck is Sean doing? And like, what is my value right now? So it's so weird. It's weird without having demos or like 2 coaching slots. And how did you deal with that, Sliggy?
So we used to do a system where, say that I was in the server, it would be either me in the server or be Bacon in the server. So I would be streaming, and then we get everyone else to stream their POV. So like they have like your own YouTube VOD, then you can go back and you can like look at their POV and just be like, oh, what happened here? Like something happened at the other side of the map. Maybe it's just like info or like why are they using this util. So you could kind of go to it and just clip it. So it would be like me kind of just watching the whole game, getting good stuff. Bacon could clip my stuff, and then things that like I missed or I wanted to see, he would either clip it or I'd message him and be like, "Can I get Yampi's POV for the last last 20 seconds of that round or something like that, so we could go back, watch it, and then we just had like VODs of it. So that was the main thing. But yeah, just coaching stuff being big in this game is huge. Like it's so huge. Back on what Josh said as well. I used to do this thing where I got Bacon to just anti-strat like the whole of our team as well, just to see if there was like readable stuff. Like, is our util really readable when we do this and stuff like that? So having like a massive coaching staff would be amazing. Like, I was pretty lucky. I was pretty fortunate with Bacon. It was like he worked so much. It was like having 2 people. So that was kind of like really helpful. But I think the coaching stuff could be huge in this, and everyone's just like really focused in on their like specific area, whether it's just making your like strats better or whether it's like individual plans, util and stuff like that. I think there's so many little detailed things in this game that that can be improved and can be looked at. So yeah, I think coaching stuff will get huge in the future.
To
Well,
piggyback off
hopefully
that
the
as
replay
well,
technology will exist eventually.
That also, yeah.
I think it's like very important. Like if you're like a semi-pro or even a pro player and you're not recording your own POV, you're trolling right now. Like if there's no replay system in the game and your only way to like look at a VOD is to look at the coach's POV and hope that they were like watching the right things, that means that you're not actually going back and like looking at the rounds that you played as well and looking at the little things that you're doing as tendencies, looking at like the little things that you could adjust for yourself, listening to yourself calm. Like there's so many things that you could do as a player when you're like improving that you can only get if you record your own POV. But then, yeah, you could also send that unlisted link, like stream to YouTube unlisted or record locally and then like just watch it back for yourself. And if you need to show your POV to someone else, you can just like show it over Discord or something, screen share. Like there's so many different tools that you could use so that if someone's missing something or the coach is like, hey, I want to see like your lurk on this round and I missed it because I was watching the main site hit. Can I like look at this? And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll load it up. Hop in Discord right now. I'll screen share it with you. Like if you're not doing that already, you're kind of trolling.
True.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's actually start the show now. 40 minutes later, we'll get to topic number
true.
1. So Riot released the knife and some of the stuff that Leah was talking about when he was on the show a couple weeks ago about how they're going to help the teams get some financial stability. They've released different knives for lock-in. There is a in-game capsule that you can purchase, and 50% of all of the revenue will be going to the teams. As far as I'm aware, each of the teams still have an individual contract with their players in terms of how much money that is going from the organization to the players. So the 50% of the money is going to the org, not the players. Each org has a different contract of how much of that money goes to the players. Some teams have 100%, but I've heard other teams taking between 10 and 20%, or even some up to 50%. So I think there's going to be a lot of pushback against that in terms of how much the organization is taken away from the players. What do you guys feel about the skins, the colors, the capsule? You think it's good? Do you like them?
Well, first I want you to say what the name of the knife is.
See that shit in the Rona show.
Misericordia. Misericordia.
Misericordia.
Yeah, like,
I feel
bro,
like
that's a
I'm
hard word to
closer.
say.
Close enough.
You guys means compassion
Misericordia.
in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Or
Or
Latin for mercy.
Mercy in Latin. Again, Rod, just zero unique thoughts, all written.
You would think that
by our producer.
you would think that he would know how to say that word because he is a mercy main in Overwatch 2. He is a one-trick
true.
mercy. You should know
That's
this,
true.
Rod. Just saying.
When
Rod's
Mercy could only
never
res one
shot
person,
a
he
gun in
fell off.
Overwatch. He's just heals.
This channel's
that's
a
all he
laser beam.
I'm letting you die every time, Spencer.
You do.
Like, don't worry.
You
You are
do
never
already.
going to stay alive. You can barely aim as it is. So you're gonna need some help.
Wow.
Yikes, dude.
That's messed up.
Personally,
so
I
what do you
wouldn't
guys-
take that, Spencer.
What do you guys think about the colors? You cool with red, purple, blue, green? Do you like the
Yeah.
knife in general?
Yeah,
Fine.
that's cool.
They could have put some like
Absolutely.
flags on it or something. I don't know. Could have made it a little bit prettier, but it's nice. It's something to build off of. I'll say that. You don't want to go all out.
Yeah.
right off
I
the
agree.
rip.
It's a starting spot. It's nice enough. I think it looks good. I think there's a good amount of variety. I like the whole idea. I think any kind of just stuff that goes to the teams and stuff like that. I'm pretty much going to buy it. I don't care if it's a crap skin. Like I'll just buy it to support the teams anyway. I think it's how the ecosystem works. So yeah, it's fine. I probably won't use it, but I'll buy it just because of that reason, I guess. Um, Digging off what you said about the team stuff, it's pretty interesting. I've literally heard some teams again getting 100% of the skin rev, and then
100%.
yep, and then I've
Name
heard a
and
team.
shame.
I'm not doing that. I'm not being
Name
the person
and
that does that.
shame.
I'm not
Are
being
the
the
Leak
players
person
on
it.
that
like
does that.
40K a
Leak
month?
it.
But there's definitely some teams out there that are getting 100%, and I know there's a team as well that's doing 50. So it really, it really definitely differs. And I think it's like, I'm not the biggest fan of um, agents because I think a lot of them take too much. But I think in terms of skin rev, agents is like the biggest thing that players should at least get a little bit of. And maybe not the crazy percents that some people are throwing out, but I think they should at least have a little percent.
Standard in CS for stickers was 50 for most orgs. Like orgs get 50, players get
Yeah.
50%.
It's a little bit different though in terms of like players have their own sticker, right?
Well,
Yeah.
And it's
I mean, it's been a long time since I played in a major, but
like
one of the last few majors where stickers individually would come out, the players get 100% of their personal individual sticker, and then the sticker that's of the team, the org got 50% of the team sticker, and the players got 50% of that. They split. So I think
That seems more reasonable than
Yeah.
the what Fliggy is talking about, though.
yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like the org, I mean, it's hard to say. The org gets that's the org gets that money no matter what. Realistically, like with the players or not, that org is guaranteed that money. But you know, the players are the org too. So I feel like it's in good faith to do at least 50%. Maybe I'm speaking out of my.
Well, it also
That's a
depends
lot.
on the salary of the players. Like if the players are on like 40K a month or something, or like they have other things, and you know it might be less likely to give that. But if they're on like 5K a month or something like that, like the bare minimum, I think what was like $60,000 a year was like the bare minimum for partner leagues or whatever.
Mhm.
So if the orgs are like on the bare minimum, then maybe splitting with the players, like giving them way more makes more sense. But
You don't.
I mean,
So
But at
yeah,
the
so
same
you don't
time,
think
like, couldn't it
50%? You don't think 50% minimum to the players is fair?
I think 50% is fair.
I think you guys are
That's
crazy.
fair.
I think that's way too much.
You think 50% of the players is way too much?
Yeah, I think that's way too much. Like if you think of just how the economy is at the moment, I think that's crazy. Esports orgs are struggling as it is. Like they need as much as they can to actually warrant paying these salaries. Like to give
Okay,
players
oh,
50% is mad.
Which brings us to our next point. The Wisemen are picking up Turtle Troop. We are now backing a team and we're taking 100%. It's like he's on big org right here.
I mean, look, Swiggy, I hear you, and we've been talking about it on the show, for the last couple of weeks, such with Leo and with Garrett last week, and in general, of course, I've been covering esports for so long. Obviously, esports is in a very precarious situation right now. Organizations are losing money left and right. They're going to be going down soon. We're going to see a lot more merges in the next couple years. I would still argue in Valorant and especially Counter-Strike, fans are more fans of players than they are of teams. I really do feel like even in this game, it is an individualistic esport, and that fans will move from team to team based on who the players are. Very few teams have loyal fan bases no matter what player is going to be on it. So if you're going to have a player-run esport and the players are the reason that the fans are there for the team, how can the team argue that 50% is, in your mind, like kind of insane, that they should be having more? I feel like the players, obviously we're all kind of going to be advocating for players anyway, but I really do feel like, especially in Valorant and in Counter-Strike, as opposed to something like League of Legends, where I think League of Legends is way more similar to the NFL, where fans are going to be like fans of TSM. No matter who's on TSM, there will be fans of TSM. I think that's much less so in CS and Valorant.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I also just think that eventually these orgs have to make a profit. So it's like, if we're kind of getting to the outrageous salaries, and like again, some of the salaries I'm hearing at NA are like on those levels, I think the org has to be able to make a profit. So I think 50% is way too high. In my head, like 80-20 is pretty much where I'm like saying is pretty fair, because the salaries are super high as well. And the fact that we get China involved, like a lot of these skins are going to sell so much. So this little percent is actually going to really build up. So yeah, I don't know. I think 50% is a bit too much. I think salaries are already pretty high. I think we need to be realistic, to be honest. I think orgs need to start making a profit. I'm trying to be a realist.
I do agree that orgs need to find a way to be profitable, but I also think there's a lot of orgs that are skating by, not offering things like the tier 1 NA orgs do. Like, like 100 Thieves, like Spencer previously said, have a nutritionist, a sports psychologist, a compound. They have all this shit. They have a boot camp facility in Texas that they flew us out to. So they deserve a pretty big cut. But then there's other teams that offer none of that shit. And those teams shouldn't be thought of in the same light as a team like 100 Thieves or Cloud9 or even Team Liquid, like who are taking that VC money and pouring it into the players. So I don't know. It's a delicate topic, and I think the Player Association in Valorant needs to make strides as far as like creating minimums and mandatory amounts for the teams to like have in their contracts. I think that's where this will end up.
Yeah,
Or
that's
yeah,
actually very true. I didn't really think about like, because obviously I'm pretty biased. I'm just coming from like the one org in terms of Liquid, and we got treated like the best out of like most of the orgs that I hear about. So I guess that's why I'm kind of like, I see how much they did when we were in the team. So that's why I'm like, they have to kind of get something back. So yeah,
Liquid
I think
is
that's
one
a
of
very
those
valid point.
exceptions where you will be a fan of Team Liquid no matter kind of who is on that team. But I think that's very rare compared to most of the organizations that we have.
Yeah. Also, you got to keep in mind 20% split 5 ways, 4% a player. You split it with a coach, less than 4%. Split it with like
But
a
Sean, look into
analyst.
some of the League of Legends skin, like how much they started getting when
Yeah.
China got involved. Like it's crazy amounts.
Yeah.
Like that adds up to a lot, man.
I mean, the
the thing
champions one
is,
was insane, wasn't it? Like,
18 million, I think.
yeah, it was 100. Like, was it 6 figures a player in some teams? Something like that. Yeah, it's
I think
crazy.
so. But I think another thing to consider or look at is like how much power the org has versus a player. I think only recently we started seeing like guaranteed contracts where like a player knows like, okay, like I'm chill here for a while. If the org wants to get rid of me, like they have to still pay me out for the however long length of my contract, not just like a 1 or 2 month severance or something. Like they're paying me for like they're contracting me for 36 months and I'm getting paid for like at least 12 if they cut me early. Whereas a lot of like players, especially in back in the days and like even as recent as right now, if you're not in a tier 1 org partner team, I'm sure like an org could just drop you just tomorrow for no reason whatsoever, and that's it. Like you get nothing, and now you're just like out of a job and whatnot. So I think right now is still like, yeah, orgs need to make money, but at the same time, uh, they also have a lot of power and a lot of leverage over a lot of players. And maybe if we like focus in on North American orgs, they could say like, well, they're all doing pretty well off in terms of the players are doing pretty well off. But that might not be correct for every region. It might not be correct for every org. It might not be correct for every player's contract. Like you don't know what every player is getting. So it's hard to just kind of like make these blanket statements. I think there's validity on both sides to say like, well, there should be a slightly bigger cut for the orgs than 50-50. And then there's other arguments saying like, well, the players need some security and there are like fans are fans of players, not the orgs. There's a lot of valid arguments both ways.
I'd say throughout esports, 90 to 95% of contracts are non-guaranteed. And that guaranteed contracts in our industry is a very, very new concept. Steele might have some insight, because he is on the player council. I think the union for Valorant and League of Legends is actually run reasonably well. I'm going to be looking forward to see how they deal with, things like this. There is going to be a huge fight upcoming in probably the next year and a half. Organizations are going to try to, I think after this set of contracts is over, their organizations are going to try really hard to lower player salaries. Player salaries are very large right now. We talked about how orgs aren't going to make any money. They're going to try significant effort to reduce player salaries across the board and to not let guaranteed contracts happen. I think it is going to be big on the union to push back on that and to, try to keep them up. Do you guys feel like this capsule knife combo is better or worse or the same as the skin from Champions last year? Do you have any thoughts?
Definitely worse than the one
either
from
way?
Champions, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on
those
board with
champion
that.
skin sets were insane. They
But
were
I mean,
sick.
this is a lock-in event. Like we
Yeah.
gotta keep that in mind. Like,
do you think that that was intentional? Like they're saving a skin on the gun is always going to be the number one most sought after thing, and that they're saving that again for Champions, and they're going to try everything except for gun skins.
do we know the price of this thing yet?
You know
was
the
that?
what?
The price.
The price of this thing.
Oh, no clue.
I
Because
think so.
I know that they've been doing the stuff where like they'll release like the big like skin sets that have like all the animations and all the sounds and all this stuff, and then they'll do like these little like budget ones like in between, so that like more people are able to be like, well, I can't afford like the $100 for the pack of like the whatever insane skin pack, but I can afford like the $10 here for like these okay-ish skins or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing that for this lock-in event too, like kind of like a test the water type of thing.
And they've proven what they can do with these fucking skins, with like the Zed skin line and some of like the after round effects from like the champion skin thing with like the brimstone, fucking whatever. Like, I think this is just like them throwing like something easy out at the start, so they can build and make something crazy by the end of the year. Riot loves to do that shit, like trail of breadcrumbs leading to like the promised land. I feel like this is just the start for them. Like the skins are only going to get better. I'm very confident with that.
Do you like that approach of them kind of starting a little bit smaller, trying some new things out, and then going all out at Champions? Or would you rather see more of, the Counter-Strike model where it's very kind of consistent from major to major? There's several opportunities to have the stickers and the skins at several events.
I
Let's
like
just
it the
say
way they're
everyone's
doing it.
looking for the bag. Everyone's
Yeah.
looking for the bag right now.
Yeah, I like the way they're doing it because they can get like the maximum revenue for what they're releasing, and they drop things that the community is very excited about. Like, I'm sure there's going to be new items in the game that you can purchase eventually, right? Like, whether you cause your agent to look a little bit differently in some kind of way, or I don't even know, like gloves, like CS, like that shit's
Shoes.
coming eventually. Shoes, yeah, give me them shoes.
Shoes?
Yeah. Remember when Killjoy got released? There was all those shoes that were in the shop in Split. There you go. They teased it years ago.
Killjoy with the new beanie for Josh. Yeah.
You saying I gotta put a beanie on my head?
I actually don't even really play Killjoy anymore. You're a lame.
I'm an Omen player now. I got a hood.
It's true.
Vanity says he likes
Hiko
this
would
new
love some
knife
hats.
because
I'll
he can
take a
spin
hat.
it a lot.
True.
Do
Where's
you
the
have two
agent?
hats?
Is there an agent with a hat other than like? I mean, Brimstone doesn't count.
Cypher? Question mark.
Okay, I mean that's like not a true hat though. Like that doesn't even count. I mean, like
What,
a
that's
normal
a top hat.
hat.
That's like that's the truest hat.
That is a hat.
The truest. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I just feel like a normal hat, man.
Doesn't Raze have a cap on too?
The backwards one, right?
Or
Oh yeah, okay. Raise counts.
Yeah.
All right. What's after
I get
this
the
game,
feeling
Slasher?
we
Yeah.
might not get the gloves.
You don't think so? I think eventually we're getting that shit.
I mean, it was a great innovation by CS to add the gloves in. I think that was great for the economy and just more ways to make money. I hesitate to feel like we might get there.
But
I
in
also
C-
don't know if Riot will include stickers either. I really am not sure. I'm not confident they're going to do either of them.
Spray paints.
in CS, everyone had the same hands in CS. In this game, like, Astra has like the gold like pendant thing. Harbor has like the wrist thing. Like everyone's got a different thing going for them. So like, how do you do like a glove skin for all those different agents? And like in CS, you just see like the same like part of the hand every time. But in this game, like depending on what you do, like Sage is like taking out her hands to put her wall or whatever. Like you're seeing like way more arm and skin and everything in this game than in CS.
Way more skin.
Imagine if you can like paint an entire barrier at the start of a round, like a giant fucking like disguised toast logo on like the Long A Haven barrier. Like you can pick a barrier on the map and just like graffiti the fuck out of it. That would be sick, actually.
Well, certainly they kind of do that almost already with like the big billboards on Old Split,
Yeah.
on Bind, where it's
Yeah.
like it's an advertisement for the upcoming tournament. So they should be able to do something like that. And they could also just go full Fortnite, just do emotes and dances, and next thing you know, they got a bunch of 5-year-olds doing Valorant dances at school.
It's
Why not?
coming.
So why not?
True.
You know, people will abuse that in third person mode within like the first day.
No, it's got to
We'll
be. You
figure
can't
out
use
how
it.
to-
You can't use it during the rounds, like pre or post. It's got to be.
Yeah,
Ah.
it's like the sprays where you can use the ones that like either change or make noise. You can only put them before the barrier, but in the middle of the round, it's only the static ones that can't change or move or whatever.
Giving Riot
Yeah.
some good ideas, right? You're always welcome.
Yeah, please no.
I will take a
Let's move on,
10%
surely.
cut. Yes.
People are going to use it for like, yeah, you win like a clutch, and then like you're just like doing the equivalent of a teabag on the last player that you just, or the player of preference. Like maybe it's not the last player that you won the clutch against, but it's a different body on the ground that you're going over. You're like going out of your way to go and do one of those dances on.
All right, we'll have to
Okay.
make it happen. Yeah,
Let's hope so.
they will. All right, let's move into NA Challengers Week 1. We had a couple games on Wednesday and Thursday, and the final games will be tonight, Friday. Still, I want to let you know ahead of time, Sliggy and Sean both predicted against you. I
Okay.
was the only one to give you a 2-0, 13-0, 13-0 prediction. That's
Okay.
my belief in that you would win. Sean and Sliggy ultimately did not believe in you at all. First
Okay.
map, you guys were actually had a decent lead on Bind. I think it was 6-2 or 7-2 at one point.
6-2.
Had a good,
Lost
had a good
both
chance
pistols. Oh.
to.
Oh,
good
don't worry.
chance
We've
to
gone
close
through
things
this.
out.
We've gone through it. We've gone through the VOD. We did our comms as well.
Are you? How are you feeling after the match? I mean, I think we talked about it before. The guards seem like they are the best team of anybody in challengers, maybe even better than some of the partnership teams. So are you not feeling too bad considering, you went up against a tough opponent, or do you feel like you let one slip away?
I mean, we
how-
definitely let one slip away because we feel like we didn't lose to them. We lost to ourselves, and it was like, if you look at the game, like you'll probably like point out like this really surface level stuff of like, why is this person doing this? But it's like, well, we missed out a lot of our game plan. Like we were calling for certain things. Like we've gone through so many things about like game plan, about like, okay, like when we get into these situations, this is like the most important thing. This is what we have to do to get the round win. These are the win conditions and everything. And I think like the guard understands like what our win conditions are, and that's why they were like flanking us a lot. Because obviously, if we get into a site and we can get mollies off, like it's really good for us. Like we're gonna win. Well, how do you stop the people from mollying? Well, you either have to headbutt it or you have to go and flank them. So like when we identify that there's like multiple people in the flank, like we got to get the people that are expendable, like the non-molliers, to kind of like alleviate the pressure and deal with the flankers so that the VIPs can get their mollies off, and you just like instant win the round. And like there was just so much like breakdown when it came to like following through with the strat, or listening to someone making a plan and just like following through with it. Just so many like little things where we just didn't do what we normally do in practice. We weren't hitting our stride. We weren't taking our timings. We were like calling to go and like fight this or do this, and then like one person would go, and then there'd be like 3 people there that just like turn around and like run the other way. It's like, guys, we just said we're gonna go fight this, and you guys just like take your knife out and like turn the other way, like run the other way. Like, what's going on here? So there was like a lot of situations like that where it's not characteristic of us. It was like if you watch the open qualifier when we played Team Fish Taco against like King Vinny, and then we played another team right after that. We had a horrible icebox and then a horrible fracture game, where again it was like the literally exact same thing that happened against the guard, where it was we have a game plan, we know like how we want to play the map, but then like when we get into the game, it's like, okay, like they're not here, like we got to be pushing through now. And it's like 10 seconds go by, 15 seconds go by. And it's like at that time, oh, we're getting like exec on the other site. And we're still across the map, not even in a relevant position. Like, what's going on here? And it's just like not following through with the game plan properly. It's not like, if someone makes a plan, not trusting it and just like being like, okay, like this is the plan, got it, let's do it. It was just like a lot of that like amateur stuff that's probably, I would say, just like first game out of the way type of stuff. But I mean, the guard is still a good opponent, so I mean, it was like a compound thing.
I mean, you were taking a bunch of criticism online for having first contact in a lot of those rounds and doing a little bit of an angel cosplay for the game. What do you feel like things just broke down? Was that the intention for you to?
Yeah, that was the intention. I was supposed to swing everything, and everyone else.
Well, it was really barking up the wrong tree right now, Ron.
For the,
I'm
for
pretty
Angel's
sure.
game plan, that
I don't
that
know.
is
I don't
kind of
know
intentional
which the
for him
commentary
to-
is that you're talking about that you've like read or heard or whatever. But they probably have never played in a high level match before, so.
I'll stick up a little bit for it. There was definitely some kind of disconnect between you and the rest of your team, for sure. Like your first bloods were too high on us.
Yeah,
for sure.
So one of the things that I have as an issue as a player is that I overcompensate a lot, and in CS, you don't get punished as much because like if you need to smoke for yourself, flash yourself, and do all that stuff, it doesn't matter. Or if you like do something where like you could potentially win the round for your team, and it doesn't work out, and you die, it's like, well, your teammates still have smokes and flashes, so it's fine. But there were like certain situations where it was like clear as day what we were supposed to do, and then like there wasn't the follow through. So like one of the rounds on Bind, for example, we were getting triple flanked, and I saw it, and my molly lineup is like from right outside showers that lands like for the shower plant spot, and I'm like, okay, well, if they're like triple flanking, like I can't, it's super sketch for me to be in this spot. So I say, yo, I'm gonna reflank caves. I'm gonna reflank caves. What I need there is just the other person with me. It was Sky to go and like when I'm like in position all the way around caves to go up and make sure like the close short is clear and everything, because obviously going to be staring at that angle. And it was just like the delay between was just so long that it was just like, well, we got to go. Like they're on the spike. Like they didn't they played a full retic, so they have 2 sage slows, a sage wall, and raise nade, brim molly, like all this stuff. Like we need to go in and like start moving a little bit quicker here. And there was a communication breakdown because again, I went first. But then there's other rounds like on Ascent. Like I remember we went through the VOD yesterday. So it was like, hey, let's do our A default, and they have Killjoy ulti. If it seems like A is free, let's just go into our A hit. And we go A, and there's absolutely nothing there. We knife close, nothing there. They had like a 3-man A stack, but we had no idea. They wanted to like bait us into it, I guess. But it's just like, okay, like I'm soaking tree now, let's go. And then like I'm running past people because I was holding an omen flash if they were fighting a main close on us. And then like I run past people, I throw the smoke, and like everyone's just like running back to mid. I'm like, guys, and I just like tilt swung, and there's like the guy was dice or something like that. It's like, guys, like we said, if it looked free, let's just take it because we have like a molly that lands and breaks the Killjoy ulti. Like we're chill. Like we made the plan. We like assess for this. But even in scrims, like if it's that free, like we have a jet or the jet with a KO, just like asking for a drone, or they're flashing, or there's jiggle peeking, or doing any of that stuff. And then like here, we're just like, okay, well we have this stuff for free. Let's go somewhere else. Like if they're not A main and they're not B main, they could be mid, but like we're just gonna go bid into them, like without even trying to find out like information on this place that we just got literally free info on. That's like really bad for us, and that's not characteristic of us, because in all of our practice games, in all of our matches that we've played so far, we had never just like let that happen. So yeah, it's like it's dumb for me to just like tilt swing that and just like overcompensate, and then like obviously it's bad that like I'm dying as the omen, but that's just like a full breakdown of game plan altogether. So
Would you
it's
just
like
say this is growing pains because you're just
probably
just still a new team.
Probably. It sounds like your teammates probably gave too much respect to the guard. Like they were scared to act on things they didn't practice.
Yeah, do you feel like that happened?
There were a lot of things that were going on. I know that like like one of the people wasn't having a good game on bind, so they were like mentally taken out of it, and they were a little bit more vocal on the team. So like we lost like a big like vocal component of like, you know, if we're like in the pack and it's like we have this area, hey yo, like let's walk up, let's peek this together. Like that's just completely gone. That's going to completely drastically change like how the map plays out for you. If that's not happening, where that's like you're used to it. So, you know, that happened, and then like just like other things, like without hearing the voice comms and like hearing the difference between the practice days versus the match days, and hearing like what was said before, like that led up to me just like dry wide swinging alone. Like there was another round where um we had like we did a fight at mid, we got like our opening kill, and then they re-cleared us, and we went back to A main. They were Sova ulting us at A main, and we're all 4 people together at like Gelato, and there was like people, there's one person like closer to top mid than I was, and I said, yo, let's go back cat to A, like all together. And I went back and we're all together, and then I went to swing top mid, and their Omen's just standing out in the middle of the open at mid, wins a duel on me, and then I look to my sides, and I'm just like, team! And they're going back A! All of them! So, you know, it's like, we have these, I don't know what happens in the round, but it's like, it's not for the lack of like a good game plan or anything like that. It's just like, in the moment, there was just some, I don't know, brain fog or something weird. Because like, again, that's another swing that I do where it's like my homies were there, we called to do it together, and then it's just like for whatever reason we didn't do it. We were just like not ourselves.
But you did try to TP behind Trent backside B.
I did try to do. Okay, to be fair though, I did. Okay,
and that's
so
just not going to
I
work
have a
out
story
well for
about.
you because it's
I have
Trent.
I have a story about that. So we were playing in the qualifier against
Sure you do.
Oxygen. No. We were playing in the qualifier against Oxygen, and I did a TP front mode house. In a situation where like my team was still scaling up, and then like it screwed up the player in there, and then we were like able to go in and kill him. But this time I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna try to TP behind, because I was fighting World War III, dude. Like I was out mid for free for like 30 seconds, and we realized like they were A and we're calling to come back to B. I'm getting like Omen flash in the back. I'm counter Omen flashing. I'm running and holding mouse one. Like it looks so funny from my POV. Let's just say I thought my teammates were much closer, but they got scared of a dart, so they sat back for an extra couple seconds. And I thought they were like ready to like be in there trading and stuff, and it just wasn't even close. And I had mid, and we didn't even come through mid for free.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Back,
I was like,
we ran
dude,
back
you
from
thought
like
they were
A to
closer.
T spawn to B, and I'm like, oh, guys. Well, they were coming out B main when I was like coming up market. They were coming out B main, but they got darted. And I ran past the dart to stairs, and I tanked the Omen Flash and counter Omen Flash and just ran at them. But they ran back into B main and waited the dart out, and that's why the timing was so scuffed.
Yeah, I was watching with Rod. I was like, he definitely thought someone was closer, so that way, like, he goes backside. If Trent swings, the guy comes in, tries to kill. It just looked so scuffed because it
was.
Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that's okay. Really, do we all agree the guard looks like they're the best team?
They're pretty.
In all challengers.
It's hard to say.
I mean, so far that we've seen.
Probably.
Yeah.
So far that we've seen, sure.
What do we think? Do you guys think the matches today will change that with like M80? I mean, obviously, the teams you would think are like Shopify and M80.
Yeah, I'm interested for sure. I was impressed with G2. I liked what G2. At least on the Haven, I thought the Haven's pretty cool. I like that we're seeing some teams try some stuff. Was it TSM tried the Harbor on Icebox?
Yeah.
No, that was FaZe.
Yeah.
Oh, FaZe.
Is it
Sorry.
FaZe?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That maybe didn't hit as they planned, but
did not exactly go too well.
No, I've seen some teams running it, and it's not too bad. But
Looked good.
this one didn't.
It was
this one didn't really have a time to shine for sure.
They lost a couple posts though. Did you see that shit, Sliggy? Like the Harbor ult post plant A. Like they just collapsed that round. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, there's some bad like after plans, but the overall like premise of the Harbor didn't look too bad. And I know how it works like on defense, where you kind of just have the Viper wall and then you refresh the walls. It's actually pretty good, but we didn't get to see it on the defense side. But at least taking map control, it looked okay. But yeah, it didn't really sell me too much in the harbor, but a lot of it was just like bad afterpunts for sure.
I mean, do you really want Dicey on Harbor though? Especially with Jet back into the
That's
meta.
also
Like out of
true,
all the
yeah.
people to have on Harbor, it seems like that is not.
Well, you
Not
have
the
Baby
player.
Bay on the team too, so what are you gonna do?
That is true.
I was talking
Neither of
about
them
this the other.
opt that game.
I was talking about this the other day, where it's like all the teams that kind of recruited a chamber one trick. Now that chamber is not really in meta, do you have
Yikes, dude! What are you saying?
do you have your chamber one tricks go and like play duelist? But then what happens to the duelist you already have on the team? Do you have your chamber one trick go and play sentinel? So you go from being like a hard carry kind of support sentinel to a killjoy cipher. Like, what do you do? I think I feel like there's going to be more changes with these rosters that people haven't really figured out. And if the chambers that were the one trick chambers for the better part of a year aren't able to adapt to a more passive play style, that seems like that's what's happening, then are these players in trouble for the future? I think probably. I think if the actual chambers that were the sentinel before can't adapt to a more passive cipher killjoy type of play style, what do you do with them? Do you replace them?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. It's like a real big meta shift.
Mhm.
Like
It's
even though
huge.
even though it's just a one agent getting nerfed, it actually just changes so much.
It's your star
It is
player.
just yeah, exactly. It's just a different role. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a star player that can literally play in any spot and have like massive impact and just teleport off like untradeable. And you lose that. So like that player now has to have really good fundamentals. I think there's going to be a lot of exposing of chamber mains in the coming couple months. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for like certain teams that had like insane chamber, like the FaZe situation. Dicey's a great player. Baby is a great player. They're both like duelists though. It's hard. I see what you're saying. I think he did
You're
fine.
seeing some teams are running double duelist. That's kind of I think that's probably why more teams are running it because they're just like, what on earth do we do here?
Yeah.
Like, what on earth do we do with these one tricks that we're playing chamber? So I think that's more a reason that we're actually kind of seeing double duelists for a lot of this.
Is that lazy though? Are you losing out playing double duos as opposed to like triple initiator, double controller? Certainly, you run double duos. You can't run. You're pretty much stuck at that point having a sentinel, an initiator, and a controller, right? So you can't run double controller. You can't really run. I mean, you can run double initiator, but then you're giving up something for that, which is essentially a sentinel or a second controller. So I feel like the double duelist comp. I mean, we saw like Optic try to run the triple initiator on like Ascent last year, and they looked pretty decent. But I don't know, maybe I'm misreading it. I just feel like having double duelist, you're missing out on so much. Unless you're literally like full in there, like PRX, and you have this Yoru Reyna Jet, your Yoru Reyna, Yoru Jet, like this crazy aggressive comp. I don't know if a lot of teams can get away with running double duelist anymore. I'm willing to be proven wrong, but
it depends on the map and it depends on the duelist. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know about you, Sliggy, but when I saw G2 lock in Jet Neon on that Haven third map, I was like, they're fucking winning. They're fucking winning. Like, how much practice do you get against a double duelist Jet Neon? Like, they're just gonna win.
Yeah, that's also the thing that I was talking about. So first of all, I saw the comp and I was like in my head, I was like just thinking of everything on the map, and I was like, wait, does this even work? And then I was like thinking, I was like, actually, they can stop the A main, they get back control. Okay, this can work.
Yeah.
And then yeah, dude, that's the thing as well at the moment. Everyone's playing like Killjoy meta and stuff like that. So all the teams you're pracking against are doing like a set thing. When you get that curveball and you've never played against it, there was like a few games I remember when like we were trying to get practice against like a Sage, but no one was playing Sage. And then we played against a Sage and official, and we're just struggling because we could never get the practice for it. It's so hard when teams are playing like a Seb meta. You're used to practicing against a certain thing. You have like anti-killjoy rounds, stuff like that. And then yeah, the curveball comes out and there's a Neon and a Jet, and you're like, wait, what on earth is going on? It's hard to play against the first time.
Yeah, dude, it's so hard to play against those comps. And to speak on that, when I was on 100 Thieves for, let's see, yeah, this is LCQ, I think, when we lost to FaZe, we ran the Sage comp on Haven, like, like Sage, Omen, Fade, Chamber, Raze, and we won every single scrim. We didn't play any Sages. Like, it was so out of meta. And then we played FaZe and LCQ, and they mirror comped us. And I was like, wait, what? And they just like blew the doors off of us, I think, that game. because we didn't know how to play against our own comp that well because we had no fucking practice against it. Like,
So this is where I was thinking, you know, this is the only like big plus I can see from EG, right? This whole 10-man roster, this is the only thing I can see that's good in terms of
They're not doing
you
that.
get like
Whatever you're about to
get-
say, they're not doing it.
no, like at least the premises is there, right? You can get 5. Because we used to, you know, Cupid the 6th of C9 right now. We used to get his team to mimic the comps that like we were going to play against. So they would like he would just watch a game and then call like to the same style so that we could get good practice. But at least EG has the potential of getting the other 5 to mimic stuff that they want. I think it's very useful, but yeah, it's kind of a shame that Riot stopped the whole academies thing. So it would have been nice practice for teams to actually have the option of like getting the academy team to run like Sage comps or whatever you're going up against, so you can get good practice.
I mean, we're going into Sao Paulo. I mean, I do have a whole section on a lot of things we've been talking about. How much do you think we're going to see double duelist going to Sao Paulo? I mean, it's not just G2. We saw Sentinels run it a good amount too with second and tens. Seems like Neon's a pretty reasonable pick now because there's not a lot of Sages. It seems like a lot of teams are trying to go fast and go quick and have that option. Do you feel like we'll see that a lot more, or are we going to have more standard single duelist comps?
I think maybe off the rip you might see some double duelists, but I think as time progresses, it might be harder and harder. Like as teams get more and more structured with like the new meta. That's what we saw a lot of at Champions. Like the more strategic teams made it deeper. I think early on in metas, it's like a shit show. Like I think there's a lot of variance early on, and once people figure it all out, the heavy util teams end up winning in the long term. But off the bat, I think you could see some upsets with the double duelist comps.
I'm not even seeing that much variance. So, like from the practice games that I'm playing against partner and challengers teams, is like there's very, very, very little variance. Very few teams are actually going out and trying. Like I think there's only like 2 teams that are trying double duelist, and like 1 team that's doing something like wacky, like Viper on Ascent type of wacky. Most of the teams are running basically like mirror comp. So I'm wondering if the partner teams that are going to Brazil or here are going to do more wacky stuff. Like we saw PRX running like on Breeze, like Astra, no Viper, and like did they do double duelist on that as well? You know, like some teams are going to go really wacky, like out of meta stuff because you can't prepare for it. Like if you don't get that practice, it was like the whole thing with running Sage on Ascent. We did it for a time, and then we stopped doing it. And then like we go and we're playing like Ascend in Brazil, in Berlin on that comp, and it's just like we're thinking that we could like speed up like we can against every other team when we see 3 people B, but it's like we can't. And the same thing with like Sage on Split, like going like starting in meta and then getting nerfed and then going out of meta and then like one team brings it back and then it's just like, oh, we can't do this because they're Sage rolling A at the start of the round or Sage rolling mid or blah, blah, blah. Like how, you know, we have to like slow down. We have to like, you know, completely change our game plan a little bit here. I think double duelist is going to be common, but the real question I have is when are teams going to start switching certain agents based on the opponent that they're playing and decide they're starting on? So if they know their opponent's running a Neon comp, when are they going to start running Cypher? And if they know they're on Jet or something, are they going to run Killjoy instead? That's the real question.
Certainly, it's too hard right now. It's just too many layers to figure out. A lot of these rosters are new. We have new maps. I mean, you guys have to practice 2. Yeah, you still have another week of playing the 2 maps that aren't even in the pool anymore, right?
Yeah, one week of it.
One more.
It's next match, and then Bind Breeze gone.
So how can you possibly be? How can you possibly be on top of not only practicing 9 maps, but also having so many layers in your strats that you're able to switch agents and still have strategies that can work without having a Killjoy turret here with just like a different, like a drop in. And we were practicing, I feel like we were practicing with Baby J playing Cypher, and he just decided day of the match we wanted to play Killjoy, and it completely like kind of threw our game. We got 13-0'd by the guard. I mean, you know, so I feel like it's just too early, and the map and the meta changing. It's just I don't think any team right now has the depth to do that.
I will
Maybe
say,
DSG.
Processing that last part that you just said.
Thank
I
you.
do like some teams like FaZe are playing like the middle ground. Like that Fracture comp was so wild because they did a Sky instead of a KO with the Neon comp. And I think it's because they did it because you're seeing a lot of fucking ciphers on Fracture lately. So if a Neon is just running it down on Fracture and doing like any of the hits, they're gonna hit trips. But they were using dogs to like clear out shit ahead of the Neon. And then you can also flash out of the Neon wall really well with the Sky. You can flash in tower. They made the Sky on Fracture look so fucking good. Like, I know Sliggy, you're like the only person I think that I know that has run Sky on Fracture. Liquid,
Yeah,
you?
we like it. I think it's like, I think you're slowly going to see teams just fall back on Sky a bit more. Just the dog having just a longer running distance. Like you use the dog now, and you see how much you can check compared to like a drone or a prowler. It's crazy, yeah. So yeah, I think the Sky is really kind of I'm not saying coming back into meta, but I think a lot of times it slots into like a comp really well. I like it on the map. It's just good for info as well. It's just a nice, well-rounded agent at the moment. But the dog is
Yeah.
dog's really strong against like killjoys or ciphers in terms of just finding out where they are. Like when people play ciphers on Fracture, everyone just does like 1-4. You 4-stack one side, you retake the other. So like a Sky, and just having the dog get in the info, you just completely counter it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it looks strong. I like it. I think we'll slowly see more Sky.
And the Seekers were fucking like some of the Seeker strats were actually OP too. Like Sky's kit really impressed me in that FaZe Fracture game. I think if anyone wants to see that, like how to use Sky and Fracture, they should go back and look at that VOD because that was super impressive. And something I said that FaZe taught me about Neon is they would take Baby Bay and like jump in and out the wall on B hits. Like so he would essentially just be like running as like he using his run as Neon and just running and jumping in and out the wall like bunny hopping, but not like maintaining a lot of vision, just for radar vision. And then they just util dump.
It's the harbor tech.
Yeah, but with like a Sky flash going in and out the Neon walls, that just seems OP as fuck. Like that seems insane. And I know FaZe does that shit. So I just see so much potential with that comp. I want to see them play Fracture more.
Just as an update, our guest Gustavo is coming home right now. He should be on in about 5 to 8 minutes. So
Yeah,
our
is he
first
taking off
guest.
his shoes and like brushing his teeth? Like, you got more details
No,
about
he-
that? Like, just coming
We had to go
home?
meet a friend. You know, they're 2 hours ahead
They're
in
out
Sao
for a
Paulo.
drink. They were getting some
So,
coffee. You know,
mid-afternoon, he went to go get lunch. Coming back, it's nice out there. He should be on in a couple minutes. So besides the agents that we're going to be able to see, part of the other thing in the meta right now is how strong the Stinger is and how much that has pretty much changed so much of the early game, especially in Valorant. What do you guys feel about all the force bind we're seeing even on defense after losing pistol round with Stingers, and how much that's really affecting, especially on offense? Even if you lose first round, you get bombed down in a couple kills, your buy is actually pretty solid. Do you feel like the Stinger is going to heavily impact what we're going to be seeing in lock-in? What are your thoughts on all the forcing that we're
meta coming full circle again.
Yeah, fucking
Rolling
just
back.
back, it, man.
Rolling back to the
Yeah.
years.
It's like a bit of a shame, to be honest, in like where I'm standing on it, because like we finally kind of got the agents relatively balanced. Maybe Killjoy's like a little bit stronger at the moment, but kind of got like the perfect balance of agents, and then there's just a gun that's just a little bit too cheap, a little bit too strong. So it's kind of just throwing everything out of whack. I don't mind watching it at the moment. It makes it kind of interesting. I compared it a little bit to like the Jet meta, where I was like, I know this is busted, but it's still kind of okay to watch when I'm like doing watch parties. But at the same time, I don't really like it. I think we just need to. It just needs to be nerfed a little bit. It's getting abused, and like it just the pistol rounds kind of don't matter anymore. And it's just like it's all on the second round, and whoever wins the second round. So yeah, I don't. I would prefer a nerf, but I think it's not going to happen too often.
what would you want for the nerf? Rate of fire, price?
Either like either probably rate of fire, something like that. But it just needs to be more expensive at least. Like anything at this point, anything just to Like if you increase the price, and then we don't at least have this thing on defense where we're buying as well. That would be cool. It just needs any kind of tweak at the moment will help, in my opinion.
I don't even think it's the key problem of the gun, but I don't even feel like the Stinger should have a burst ADS. Like, it should be a close range fucking gun, and I feel like it's still just too cheap. It's a problem in like several ways. I feel like if you have like these force buys on second round, you should see a mixed bag of weapons based on what fight you have. But instead, you just see stingers across the board because there's no competition in that slot, and that's just fucked. Like they need to nerf this shit ASAP, in my opinion.
I wouldn't even be opposed to them buffing the Bucky again in it to nerf the Stinger. Honestly, I mean,
let's deal with OP guns by buffing other ones. Oh no!
No, they have to nerf the Stinger as well. But it kind of just piggybacks off what you're saying. Like, you know, if it's like a tier list where it's like the close range weapon should be the shotgun, middle range should be the Stinger, long range should be like a Bulldog or a Marshall. Like the Stinger can't be the best at all three. That doesn't make sense. And for 950, is it 900 or 950? Whatever it is,
950.
It's too good for the price. It's the best at all three.
Well, it's been on sale for months now. Like, when does the sale end?
Here's the thing, though. I think so we abused the hell out of the Stinger meta back in First Strike. It was like every second round buy was a Stinger buy because it was actually so strong back then. It got nerfed, but like basically it's been the same since that nerf, and people are only just like rediscovering it. I don't know if it was like partly because like Astra had 5 stars with like super low cooldowns with sucks and everything, that Stinger rushes didn't work as much because the meta was just slower in general, or it was something else. But like the Bucky got nerfed into the ground, where it's like you can't really run it. It's not viable at all. But the Stinger was always kind of like there. People just didn't realize it for a while because there were other things. Like there was the frenzy with armor on pistol buy meta for a while, and then there was like the chamber meta for a while, and he's just gonna have like a sheriff anyway, so like why buy a Stinger? And then I don't know, are we just seeing like just the trends of the metas just like coming in and out of rotation right now, and people are just gonna like it's gonna get a nerf again, and then like we're gonna go back to like the next thing that was busted?
I think just because it's still relatively new, the game. There's a lot of crazy guns. There's a lot of tweaking. Like we go back to everything, like from the beginning. Even if we're just looking at agents and just guns, we just had like Judge, Frenzy, Marshall, obviously still there. Bucky. Like there's so much. So it's just like there was a slight Stinger buff. And I think once they kind of nerfed the Spectre, there was like 8 months ago or something. They probably didn't need to add that extra Stinger buff that they did in terms of just like a accuracy buff. It probably would have just had its own meta anyway, but they kind of just bumped it a little bit, and that kind of doubled it all up. It's never been a bad gun. It's just that, like you said, things were just better. Like the Bucky right click was just insane. So yeah, I think it's just about balancing the game. It's like I said, we almost got there with agents, and we've almost got there with guns. I think obviously like probably like once the Stinger gets nerfed, we'll have to look onto like Marshall and stuff like that. There's still a few things that need some tweaks, but it's just a new game. It just takes a while, I think, and it only becomes obvious once these metas, like you're saying, and like just pure abuse that just happens of just people just spamming it.
How do you guys feel about all of the forcing right now? It seems like in the Counter-Strike current meta, you automatically force buy, even on defense, second round, all the time. Every single game, there's barely any saving, either offense or on defense, especially now with the Stinger and the economy. The economy in Valorant is pretty close to the economy in Counter-Strike, almost identical in terms of how the early game goes. Are you guys approving of force buying second round no matter what, even on defense, or do you think that's still too risky right now?
I think you should pretty much always force buy second round of attack if you lose pistol.
So always force second round even without bomb plant? Is it really just that advantageous to buy Stingers even without bomb plant?
As long as you have set shit, I feel like you should.
I think that's the big point of it. You have to have like, you can't just like default with it. You need to have like a set play. But even with the set play, like I think you can't just like run any set play. It needs to be like a super specific set play, and you need to like hit your timings with it or whatever. Because if you don't do that, you're not like all in together. Like the power of the Stinger isn't just like the gun in isolation. It's like the gun with 3 people all running, wide
Mhm.
swinging you, holding mouse 1 with it.
Like you're not
It's
getting
like
two. They're trading you
Yeah.
out, and they're taking the site. Good luck on the retake.
Yeah.
Yep.
And on defense, you can't really control that. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, group and like walk push with 4 people on
Yeah.
defense? It's like that's not really ideal. I feel like you should play to get your big guns going.
Do you think it's
but,
still too risky forcing defense?
I mean,
I'm not a
probably.
fan of it, but it's possible. Trap plays make anything possible in this game, I feel like. Is that a trap play somewhere?
You either need to have a good read or be desperate to do it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Even when we saw it work out yesterday in Challengers, who was it between? Was it G2 and FaZe?
It was the breakthrough game I think you're thinking of. The defensive buy.
Yeah, the breakthrough game. Even after they won the force on defense, the offensive team just forced it back again the next round and then broke the economy anyway.
Yeah, well,
So
you have
I
to
feel like
Oh, you're thinking of the other game actually. It was the game before that. Whatever that was.
Yeah.
you have to consider the economy swing. Like, if you take down 4 or even 5 people and still lose the round, like you have to consider that they have to rebuy shields, which is like 1,000 right there. And if you're only getting like 3,000 for a round win, plus or minus like a few hundred for some kills or whatever, like full shields right there. If you want to buy a weapon without even getting any abilities, that's like a bulldog at best. And then if you're getting any abilities, you're probably on a Stinger or Spectre. So at that point, when you do that much economic damage to your opponents, like yeah, force buying to keep them down is something that's really strong. That's literally like a 1-to-1 comparison from CS because it was the same thing there. Like how the economy resets if you lose a round then you win and you have your first win, it resets the loss bonus. So if you lose again, you're back to like $1,900 per person or whatever. So or credits. So yeah, if you can keep your opponent's economy down, and especially factoring in like ulti economy, like oh, okay, like we can do this because we're gonna get this ulti, or we have this ulti to use, or we'll have this ulti on the following round if we happen to lose this, and we can still like chip away, chip away, chip away. Because once you chip away enough, you can mount like a snowball like comeback of like a 4-round string of rounds that you can get off the back of it if you keep chipping away. Whereas if you just say like, okay, let's go full 5 classic save here, you might give your opponent like the luxury of getting back in the game. And with halves, this like short 12-round halves, every round is like super impactful. It's like almost 10% of like where you need to get to the finish line. That yes, it is a little bit risky, but the payoff is like really rewarding.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's not even about the win-loss percentage of the round. It's like the damage. Like you're almost. How many times do you see like a Stinger attack by get like 0 kills? Like you're probably gonna get like 2-3 kills. So if you get 3 kills, the 2 people that live can drop 2, and then the other person's kind of fucked. And then you light Stinger by again the 3rd round. Even if you lose the 2nd, you kill like 2 more again that round. Then if you just win the first gun, which you've built an ult or 2 like by, you've broken their economy. It's like that is like an added benefit that's the statistics just don't show.
Yeah. Well, all we've learned is that please Riot, do something. We don't have to wait a year for this to keep going. So our first guest is ready. Gustavo is ready to come on. We're going to take a quick break. Welcome back to the Wisemen, episode 3, with myself, Hiko, Sliggy, Steele, and Sean Garris. We have on our first special guest of the day, VCT Brazilian host Gustavo Melao, aka the Melon in Brazil, as everyone calls him. We're gonna ask him why that is, because I'm sure last name, but maybe there's
no, it's
maybe
not my
the
last
head of
name.
yours. Maybe it's the head of yours. I mean, Hiko knows all about it too. Hiko's gonna have a melon himself, very soon. How you doing, man?
I'm fine. Thank you guys for having me. I'm honored to be here between some legends, among some legends, and I'll try to do my best to be my region lawyer or something like that.
Yes, you are here to represent Brazil, but I didn't know, and I'm very proud of this. You are an old man like the rest of us.
Yeah, of course. Please don't Don't mistake me for a young man. Okay, I don't like those guys. So I've been around for a while. For a while.
So I'm
What's
not
your
sure if you
guys'
know.
scene like? Is their scene super young in Brazil? Do you guys have like a really young scene? Our scene in
Yeah,
North America
people.
is so fucking young in Valorant.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I mean, Aspas is like 18 now, 19. We have a lot of 16-year-olds just smashing everyone on the challenger scene. So there's a lot of young people, a lot.
So much
I'm
young
not sure if
talent
you
in this
know.
game.
We only have people that are 30 years old and above get on
Yeah.
this show.
That's because we started playing CS. It's been it's been like 20 years now, over 20 years, right? That's why.
Do you come from 1.62?
No, it was before it. It was before it. I don't recall.
Before,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was back in 2002 when I first played. I don't recall if it was 1.3 or 1.5. I don't recall. But
It was about that time when it switched over.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
going that far
Yeah.
back, it doesn't. It's
my
Same
my
thing.
my Steam account, I had to put the serial number of Half-Life to get it on.
yeah.
So that's how old I am.
That was back in like the One ID days, right?
Yeah.
Where you bought like the
I remember that.
package with like the hostage with
I-
the gun up to his head and shit.
Oh,
That shit
yeah.
was just
Love playing CS Assault.
old school
and-
CS.
Yeah.
Siege.
Siege.
Militia.
Militia was so fucking bad that
Mhm.
map, dude. Holy shit.
Terrible.
But it was fun.
Militia was great, man. I loved being up in the attic there, going through the little
Yeah,
vent.
you would.
So confused. It was so confused. Like it's it was really confused. That the house you just camp in the window and the bots were coming or other people. I don't know. I was
They
more
were
a
bots,
assault guy.
probably. Yeah.
Oh, you're an assault guy. Okay.
What are you trying to say?
Sorry?
No,
Well,
no.
no, what's
Okay,
Slasher
okay.
trying to insinuate there?
Mm-mm.
We can
Okay.
find. We could actually find Rod in the sewer in the militia. just a little rat.
This definitely is.
Extremely toxic, Spencer.
What?
Extremely toxic. So, Gustavo, how excited are you for lock-in to be hosted in your home country and for all the Brazilian fans to experience a live event
Yeah,
for the
this
first time in Valorant?
I start casting League, right? And back in 2017, we hosted MSI at Brazil. It was the best event I have ever worked on. So it's really fun to host everyone. You know, to get everyone to come to Brazil, or in this case, São Paulo. That's my hometown. So it's really fun, and we have a lot. Like Loud has never played in front of a Brazilian audience because of the pandemics. So it's gonna be like the first time for a lot of guys that won a lot playing against a home crowd. So it's gonna be amazing.
That's crazy. So there's never been like a local LAN that they've attended?
Yeah,
in
we
Brazil?
did, but like LCQ,
Yeah.
and I think that's only LCQ that we have an audience. So Loud, they never had to play. For
Dude, this is gonna
example.
be insane. This
Yeah,
is gonna be
it's gonna be
fucking
insane.
insane. Do they do like meet and greets ever?
I
people?
don't know, but probably. I think so, but I don't know yet.
Have they been
This
doing
got
meet
to
and
be
greets in
sick.
general since COVID? In
Yeah,
like
that's
any
the
event?
point. Yeah, we had before COVID, but I don't know if you're gonna have
Yeah.
like meet and greet. Everything's
Yeah.
really good in Brazil. The COVID situation, like almost everyone's already vaccinated with I don't know how many boosts, so it's really okay down here.
How confident is the scene right now in Brazil for like Loud with the roster changes? Like, are you guys all optimistic? Are you guys anxious? Like, what's the deal?
They lost like three important guys, right? Saci is he's amazing. Pancada is amazing, and Bazooka is amazing. But they still have, like, in my opinion, the best IGL and the best player in the world right now with Sadak and Aspas. So they're really good. They're still really good. I just want to see what Tui is gonna do because he was a really good duelist, like one of the best since beta. And now I think he's gonna have to play as a smoke. So I'm curious to see what he can do. But Kawanzin is really good as well. He was the best upcoming player last year. He's really young as well. I think he's around 18. But Loud's still pretty good, but I want to see what Sassi can do at Sentinels and Bazooka can do at MRBR, like to spread the knowledge, spread the work ethics, the work philosophy, how they see the game. So it's gonna be fun. And Sadak, he has to do something, a lot of things different, because everyone knows the people who knows what he does are playing against him right now. So it's gonna be fun to watch everything new.
So it's like
Do you feel like
one second,
Oh,
Rod.
sorry, go ahead.
I'm curious. Like, has the Brazilian scene have they stuck by like Sassi and Pancada, or are you guys more supporting Loud? Like,
No. I mean, I don't know if you guys recall, but Sentinels and the Brazilian community didn't get along.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like so the Brazilian community probably thinks they're like traitors or some shit.
yeah, a lot of people are treating them like traitors. I'm not. Like, come on, that's
Yeah, of
one life
course.
opportunity, to even though everyone's the VC Americas, Loud, Furia, and MLBR, they're still Brazilian orgs. So the money is not the same, right? Because $1 is like $5 and some change. So they had a one lifetime opportunity to go there. So I supported like fully, but not everyone in Brazil. People are still, especially Loud fans, they are like really engaged with the team. Like they are crazy. It's one of the biggest like West group of supporters there is in sports, I guess. They are so big in Brazil. So they are really mad at them still. But I don't know, maybe I think that the crowd, if they're playing any other team that's not Brazilian, the crowd's gonna go with them. I guess.
That makes sense.
Do you
I feel
feel
like that
like
happens
Loud?
in other teams.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
I just feel like that happens with other teams, that like you have like the team with, it's hosted in a certain country, and that country has like, two teams that are like 5 players that are, from that country, but then there's another team that has like 2 or 3 players from that country. They'll always kind of like they'll always root for like the 5-man, but then like when you get to the team that's just like got like a couple, it's just like, okay, we'll go with them over this other team from like some other country.
Yeah,
I feel like
but
that
I don't
happens,
think
like,
the
every game.
Brazilian crowd's gonna root for Cru, even though we have 2 Brazilian players there. I don't think they're gonna root for Cru because
Why
they
is
are
that?
our nemesis. No, they're not.
Ah,
First of all, they're our nemesis. They never lost to a Brazilian team with the old roster, so they went undefeated against Brazilian teams, and we had a lot of problems with a few Cru players, with Brazilian players, and the community stand with the Brazilian players, and it's a little bit delicate. So they just, I think the Brazilian crowd doesn't like Cru, even though that's all the problematic players left Cru. So, but I don't think they're gonna root for Cru, even though we have Xande and Ashedi. They're amazing, but I think maybe Sentinels can count with the Brazilian crowd. Maybe.
They need to know, once you get on the bad side of Brazil, it's hard to get back on the other side. I live that. I feel like I've crossed that fence now. I'm back.
I know.
I feel like
Sorry,
I'm in good
Hiko.
graces.
You're in good graces.
I was one of them.
Oh,
one of
God.
them. I'm
Were you
so sorry.
Were you in that crowd at that
No.
tournament?
I was traveling, doing something with the league when we had in São Paulo, right? In the same venue, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That was the first like big CS event in Brazil. I couldn't go. I wasn't there, but if I was, maybe.
Bro, they were saying some things I can't even repeat on Twitch to me. It was bad.
No.
And we're talking about like thousands of angry Brazilian fans. Like, bro, it was bad.
But one thing that I don't think you guys and people outside Brazil will understand, that sometimes what the crowd says is a little bit aggressive, is over aggressive, but it's not literary, like the vai morrer and stuff like that. It's not literary. I mean, I don't think anyone, how can I say, actually have. I can bet that anything wouldn't happen to you.
Mhm.
It's only rhetorics. I don't know how to say it, but
Banter. It's only
it's
banter.
not. Yeah, it's not literary, but we are passionate. We're from the south side, and we are passionate.
I mean,
What's
Gustavo,
the-
we have another host on the show, not just Hiko, who's afraid
Okay.
to
Yeah.
who's afraid
Don't
to
be
go
afraid.
to Brazil right
Come
now.
to Brazil again, Hiko. Come to Brazil again.
I would. I actually would.
Is any of you guys coming to Loquim?
Look, I love Brazil. I'm always down. Steel's busy. The other three are probably going to be invited to co-stream.
Okay.
More than likely will be invited to go to Brazil. I think Hiko, Sean, and especially Sliggy here, suspiciously quiet during this segment. Should definitely.
I started
I can't say
around.
anything.
I can hook you up
Nervously.
with some stream setups if you guys want to come to São Paulo. You can stream here.
Can you make sure they have a good time? Can
Of
you
course,
get them in
of course.
love with the
I mean-
Brazilian crowd? We got to flip this around, okay?
I'm
Instead of
gonna
being
work my
afraid, they
ass
should be
off.
wanting to go there.
I'm gonna work my ass off, because between like all Locking Dark Days, we're gonna have challengers, the Brazilian challengers. So I'm gonna work full time, but it's gonna be Carnaval in Brazil on the second week of the Locking. So it's gonna be amazing.
I have
Brazilian
a question.
Carnaval.
I have a question about just Valorant scene in Brazil overall. I know for CS, for example, you
Mhm.
had people like Neymar. You had some like pretty prominent Brazilian celebrities that were super into CS:GO. I mean, Neymar has his own
Mhm.
organization, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that Valorant is there? Do you think that some of the people that are invested into CS:GO will come to this event and we'll see Neymar Jr. make an appearance, or is it kind of like is Valorant more niche in Brazil than it is versus a game
Yeah.
like Counter-Strike?
I mean, Counter-Strike says it's a node game, right? So it's
Mhm.
like it's like even though you don't play or you don't watch everything, you just want to watch the big things, And Valorant, after we are world champions, so I think it's gonna be we can like people get into in Brazil. We have a saying like Brazilians don't like sports or esports. We like winning. We had some fads in Brazil, like back in the 90s. We had a really good tennis player, and there was tennis on like TV all the time. But after that, we never talk about tennis anymore. So since we are winning at Valorant, I think a lot of people that don't actually watch everything like plays Valorant, they're gonna watch. But we have a few celebrities, not like Neymar. Neymar is like one of the biggest ones out there, but we have a few soccer players and football players that plays Valorant, and it's not as big as CS, but it's really big right now. Even especially after we got to be world champions.
Mhm.
I mean, going off of what Hiko was saying, I mean, we just had the Counter-Strike major for the first time in Brazil's history in Rio a couple months back. That was one of the best crowds I've ever seen for an esports event ever, not just in Counter-Strike. Do you feel like Brazil will come out for Sao Paulo the same way they did in Rio, or is Counter-Strike just that much of a bigger game in the scene? And the secondary, do you feel like that maybe Valorant has a younger audience and that it's kind of getting new kids that are into esports or FPS games, where Counter-Strike is more of an older crowd?
I don't. The thing is it's not about which one is the biggest one or anything like that, about the crowd or the number of people that plays and watches. I think it's different kind of culture behind the two games. Like as I said, I think CS is such an old game that it's already on our culture in a few places, especially São Paulo and Rio. That's the two biggest cities in Brazil, right? And I think something old. So there's a different culture around the game, you know. So I don't think that in Lock-in we're gonna have this kind of crowd that we had in the major, because it's like like a football stadium kind of crowd we had on the major the major at Rio. But it's gonna be crazy. We really like to make some noises, and I think the finals probably that usually people rather come to the finals. So I think the final is gonna be crazy, and whenever there's a Brazilian team playing.
What do you think about your guys' chances in Sao Paulo? A lot of do you still feel like Loud is the team favorite for all the teams there? Do you feel like they have a good chance of being the first repeat champions, or is it going to be
that's
still really tough for them with the loss of the
that's the
Sao
curse,
and
right?
Sassi?
That's the curse.
Yeah.
The second place and the champions. I don't know. I mean, it's a single elimination, so it's really hard to make any kind of predictions. We haven't seen any of these teams like really play at the highest level in the highest kind of competition. But I'm really confident on Loud, because I'm really confident on Sadak. He's like he's probably, if not the most, but one of the most valuable players right now in the scene. I think, because he's like, I don't know, like FNS is a great IGL, but he can't like impact the game with kills such as Sadak, for example. So he's really good fragging. He's a really good IGL, and he has a great way to view the game. So I trust him like blindly. And Aspas is a monster. Like, he's the best out there. He's so good, so good. So
a lot of people have Aspas as the best player in the world right now. Do you feel like that's accurate?
Yeah, of course. He's like, tell me, like, if you think other duelists or operator players, which one can play like Jet, Raze, Neon, Chamber back in the day, but like Aspas plays everything in the highest level. So that's something that so few players, like there's not a lot of players that can do all this kind of roles inside the duelist role. So, and Aspas, he's like, in Brazil we say he has a screw loose. Like, hey, these guys always say that. Like, has a screw loose. He's kind of crazy. So he does things, and he leaves the game like no one else does that I have ever met. So I trust those guys, those two guys.
Does he also contribute in other ways, like with like mid rounding or any just like anything with calling the shots in the middle of the
Yeah.
round, or just like setting himself up like, hey guys, I'm really feeling this, let me go and do this?
So the last year's Loud, there was two leaders, like Sadak and Sassi. Sadak was the like the primary IGL, the primary shot caller, and Sassi helped him a lot. And they got like two kids, Aspas and Les. And I don't recall which one, but Sadak was responsible for one of them to like to educate them, like to teach them everything, and Sassi for the other one. And Pancada, he's a old school in other FPSs, so he was alone in this. So they work this way. They have a really good sports psychologist with them that taught them how to work, to practice, to prepare themselves to the stage. You know, he's really good. Now he's head of esports at Loud. His name is Arthur. He's really good. And they created a way to view the game, to understand the game, to play the game, to practice the game, to study the game. And there was a collective effort, but Sadak and Sassi were the guys that were the leaders of the team. So I think they will like will miss, I think, Sassi especially, and Pancada, because He's just amazing. But I think the sauce, like the pepper and salt of them, is with Sadak.
So I'm gonna bring it back to the CS comparison. Early CS:GO days, MIBR. We're talking Fallen, Taco, Fur, that crew of people.
Like Luminosity.
FNX.
Luminosity, sure. I
When
guess
you
it'd be
said like
before MIBR.
MIBR back in the day, in the early days,
Yeah, okay, we're not going that
far
far
Kogu.
back.
Yeah,
we're not
Kogu is
going.
my man.
We're not going that far
Lava,
back.
Hiko.
Yeah. Okay. So early CS:GO days, you know, we had the first Brazilian team move to America. You know, we saw the conditions they were living in. They were living in like a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment. They're sharing beds. They're literally playing the game all day, every day. I wonder how the Brazilian, I mean, I guess even just Loud as an organization in general, you know, one of the topics we were talking about earlier today on this podcast was how a lot of American orgs are going, you know, they're investing a lot of money into their players. We're getting sports psychologists, we're getting chefs, we're getting assistant coaches, we're getting all of these different things. You know, 100 Thieves has a driver to drive them places.
That's a little bit too much, in my opinion.
I mean, fair, but how is the overall support from organizations in Brazil for the players? Is it that deep as Americans are? Is it that much involved?
Yeah, it is. Yes, we don't have drivers. I hope so. Just room yourself, take a bus, take the subway. But we have a lot of the staff is really big. Those 3 Brazilian orgs that got in the VC Americas, they're like really good in the structure they offer the players. Like, you just have to play. You just have to play. You're gonna have a head coach. You have a assistant coach. We are going to help. They help them with like food, like good food, to think everything to have a healthy life. And it's because in Brazil we have to always look to the league scene. You know, even though we suck at the league internationally, we have a really solid and healthy league scene in Brazil. And most of the teams they have or had a league operation, so they learn a lot, and they're applying it to every other game they have, such as Valorant. So I think everyone has like this big staff, but they are not making as much money as the NA players, of course.
I have like a completely different question. So in your guys' region, they launched the Premier system in the game. Do you have any experience with that? And like, you know anyone that has used it, and what are their thoughts on it? Like
The Premier system?
The Premier system in the game, like the team play system.
Oh, I don't know anything about it yet.
I was talking a little bit with Saucy because they launched it in Brazil, and he was like, "Yeah, I have a couple of friends that play. It's pretty cool." But I didn't get a chance to play it yet. I was curious if you had heard anything or played it.
Not yet.
God, I want this shit to come in the game so bad. Don't tell me anything about it. Kept them to wraps.
Brazil has been. You guys have been doing in-houses and 10-man since the very beginning of the game, though.
Oh,
right?
really?
I think so. We in league we have a guy. He's a dev, and he just like developed some kind of automatic in-house for league on Discord with invites and tiers and stuff like that. I think they have it in Valorant. I think, but yeah, but people really takes ranked seriously in Brazil. Like a lot of up and coming players were found on our ladder. So like Aspas, he was I don't know if you guys know the story behind Aspas, because he got a VAC ban back in CS, and then he started playing Valorant, and everyone thought he was a cheater. Like everyone thought he was a cheater. The the joke like gira aspas with the tornado, the tornado emoji, like turn aspas. Like in Brazil, we use like people are turning, like spinning, spinning because they're
So
cheating.
like spin
The
butting.
spin
Yeah.
bot, yeah.
Yeah.
Spin butt.
So I don't recall if it was Sadak or Sassi, but they before they signed Aspas, they went to his house, and watched him play on his setup to make sure he wasn't cheating.
Dude,
Because
what?
he's that good, he's that
Yeah.
good. And I think even though the rankeds, always the rankeds, people are trolling and like everything, but I think in Brazil people are having opportunities playing, like doing well at the ladder. They are getting really good shots right now in challengers. Keep an eye on Xenon, Leozin, Havok. It's only like 16 to 18 years old that is shitting on everyone.
I was gonna ask about like so in EMEA we have kind of a drought of good IGLs. Is that like the same in Brazil? Obviously, like all the young kids want to kind of be like Aspas, be like duelist players. What's the kind of like tier 2 IGL scene like? Is there people that are kind of coming up that look good as well?
Yeah, it's good because we have a lot of players that they came from CS. They didn't play internationally, so a lot of people don't know them, but they are really really experienced. So a lot of people wasn't IGLs back in the day or back in the careers, but now they are a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. So we don't really have this kind of problem. And like before Loud, there was Vikings and GTN and FRZ. They were playing with Sadak and Sassi, and now they are the in-game leaders for their team. So there's a lot of this kind of um, exchanges happening. People plays. Some players have played with good IGL, so now they become good IGLs. So I don't think we have a draw like we don't like good IGLs in Brazil right now.
How
Maybe
do
Fúria, maybe Fúria. They lost their IGL and they didn't get one.
Oh.
how
How would
do
you
the
rank the
team-
teams behind
Oh,
Loud?
lucky.
Unlucky.
it's
We
really
keep
hard.
talking, we keep
We need that
talking,
buzzer.
right?
It's fine. No,
All
you got,
show, it's
you
all
got me
good.
back. You got me back for the 3 times I did to you earlier. It's fine.
I really like Fúria, but I only know Fúria that was led by NZR. I have to see this team play to know what they're doing, but they have like 5 brilliant players. MW, he's a beast. DG Zin, he's like one of the best like AWPers, snipers who ever played an FPS ever. I'm not exaggerating. He's really good. And Quick, he's QCK. He's also a very good operator player. He's like young. He's talented. Khalil, everyone, and Mazin. Mazin is an amazing player. So I trust them, but I have never seen them play without NZR. And he's also one of the best AGLs in Lokin. So watch out for Leviathan. That's and it's not from Brazil, but I think Leviathan was it's one of the favorites to
I've heard a lot about how Leviathan. I've heard some scrimbucks that they're just destroying all the Brazilian teams.
Yeah.
Is this true?
I don't know. I don't really know. I haven't talked to people. Don't talk too much about screens results in Brazil. We have this kind of ethics,
Probably a good
but
thing.
yeah, but they're really good. Like it's the Latam Dream Team, like by far.
Okay. I have a couple of different questions. So the first would be like with the teams going to partnership and like relocating to LA, what is the gap looking like between like the teams that are partnered and now in LA versus like the challengers levels teams? Is it like a bigger disparity between the teams? Are those like challengers level teams missing good practice partners, or like teams to kind of like look to be like, hey, we should try to be more like these guys. We saw them do this
Mhm.
in practice, and now we don't get that anymore. How is that working out now for the rest of the teams and challengers?
Uh, it's early to say to make a statement about our level right now. We have good players, but in those we had 3 weeks already. Yes, there was the last day of the third week. We have good players, we have good teams, but everyone is kind of uh, doing some basic, making basic mistakes, but
Yeah.
excellent individually. Uh, we were world champions playing Brazil, playing against Brazilian teams. So I don't think it's, if anyone is gonna say, oh, okay, so now the challenger scene is cursed because we can't scream with good teams because everyone is in LA. I think it's just a bullshit excuse, you know.
Hmm.
Do some boot camps or watch them. We got to be world champions playing from here. Okay, of course they went to 2 boot camps, I guess, or 3. I don't recall loud, but I mean, just play the game, just start the game, and get good.
Yeah, no. The reason why I asked is
Yeah,
because I feel like when you have good teams and they're
of
practicing
course.
against each other, they push each other to be farther
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
farther. I
yeah.
remember
Of
for like
course.
years in CS, like when you're on the best team in the region, I'm talking about like CS Source as well, so you don't have to get upset right now. But like when you're on the best team and like the next teams like behind you aren't like there's a big disparity, it's hard for them to push you to be like the best version of yourself, and
Mhm.
then it's harder for them to like catch up and stuff. So that's why I had that question.
Yeah,
And we
but
were also talking. Yeah, sorry.
no. I mean, you are right. You're like it. It it's better for the region like EMEA. EMEA is the region with the with the most good teams, like tier two, tier 3 teams that are really good. People when they do boot camps in Europe, they always say about the quality of screens. Uh,
Yeah.
it's always going to be like that. The server with the highest amount of players is going to be the best region in theory because it's the level bar is higher. So if you want to be good enough to play at the challengers or the VCT EMEA, you have to be better than a lot of people. So yeah, smaller regions, smaller servers with smaller like people playing, like the amount of people playing, it's harder to get better. But Loud made it. The guys, the Fallen, and all the guys, they made it. It's possible. It's possible. Like,
So the next question I had was, we were talking earlier on the show about kind of like uh dynamics between the IGL and coach and like the other players and stuff like that. Are there any like hierarchy systems in like the teams that are in like for example Loud or any other team that you want to talk about, where it's like, do the players all talk to each other and give each other feedback, and like everyone is like level, or is it like, oh, the players are here and then like you have the coach and then like the managers and everything like works in a system or a certain order?
mm, uh, like MIBR is it's like a new team, so I can't say about them. Furia, they had NZR as the leader for a long time, so it's just one. They just changed one player, but changes everything for Furia. You know, everything. And back in the days, Loud they one of the main reasons Loud got to be that good, it was because everyone could say anything to each other. You know, they talked a lot about it.
Yep.
They didn't took to the personal life. You know, like they didn't took personal. So they had this kind of um liberty to freedom to give feedbacks, to criticize, but it was a little bit with with the hierarchy because especially Aspas and Les, they were really young, you know, really inexperienced. So
Hmm.
it's a little bit here. How can I say it? hierarchy.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. get it.
And but they could talk openly about anything. That's what they talk a lot about last year.
Yeah, I've noticed that in North America, it seems like the younger players, especially like the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, are like afraid to kind of like they're there and they're like, "Oh, I just want to like listen and like I'm kind of nervous, like I don't want to like give feedback or anything because like they don't know like what the backlash will be. Like will they get in
Yeah.
trouble for it? Will someone like not
They're
like them for it
16-year-old,
or
right?
anything?" Yeah.
They should be afraid of stuff because they don't know nothing yet. So, but it's
Yeah.
hard. The very special, the thing that made Loud special was they were on the same page. You know, they trusted the system that was invented or put in play by Sadak and Sasi, and they were open to hear everything, to absorb everything. That was the magic. That's the magic.
Gustavo, we have a little bit more time. We have
Okay.
Boaster and Yinsu coming on quick, and Hiko has like a hard out. At the end of the show. So, final question from me, at least. Early on in Valorant, I actually had Brazil above North America in the first couple lands, and Brazil completely let me down. They were extremely disappointing. I felt for like the first year and a half of the game with the results in the international, and then they finally stepped it up. Loud did at the end. How do you feel really about champions coming in? Who was your pick to win lock-in?
My pick to win lock-in. People are gonna hate me, but
gotta be honest. Even with your region, if you say they're not gonna do it,
Yeah, wait.
Who could this possibly be? What?
I mean, there's 4 teams that.
No. You can talk about like the 4 teams, but you get the.
Wait, this is getting
answer.
Spicy. Go ahead.
I hate myself, but I'm gonna pick Leviathan. I hate myself.
Oh,
I hate myself.
wow.
I
You're
hate
picking the
myself.
guys
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
country
yeah. I hate
hates?
myself. I hate
Oh
myself.
man.
I
Come to
hate
Brazil.
myself, but
Come to Brazil.
Come to Brazil.
but I think Leviathan, Loud, Navi. Navi is really good. DRX and Paper Rex. DRX and Paper Rex because they didn't change anyone, right? And Navi only changed like 1 player, and Sined's really good. Leviathan because everything already said it, and Loud. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope we have a Brazilian finals, and it's on Furia, right? Because they are on the other bracket. Let me check. Yeah, Furia.
You heard it here first. The Melon is picking Argentina,
Damn.
Brazil's
Wow.
rivals for all time, to win lock-in.
It sucks to be like a enlightened person. Just kidding.
Oh no!
Double
He's digging
pick
himself a
out.
hole.
I have to be honest, but yeah, people are gonna hate me. But people love to hate me, so that's okay.
Same for everybody here. It's all good.
Well, that is a great way to end. I feel like I'm going to
Yeah.
make sure that goes all over social media, especially to all the Brazilian fans.
Hiko, you have to be the give me the number of the guys that helped you in São Paulo in the game after
Ken,
this one.
I got you. You DM me after this. I got you with the bodyguards. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Any final words you want to say to the fans out there, especially the Americans we got listening?
Yeah, come to Brazil first of all. Come to São Paulo. I don't like Rio. I'm sorry. I don't understand the hype with Rio, but that's okay. Come to São Paulo, the best food in the world. If you guys come to Lock-in, we have Carnival. It's amazing. But leave your cell phone at home. Don't get your cell phone.
You are not helping.
Oh god.
No.
Not helping.
It's like people overestimate like how dangerous is Brazil and a few cities. It is, but it took me like 30 years to get robbed in Brazil, in São Paulo. So pretty good record. And tuning to Lock-in is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a beautiful, it's gonna be a it's not party, but kind of party. Like it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be amazing. And root for Brazil, please.
You got it.
And thank you
Leviathan
guys
fans,
again
dude.
for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for
coming
coming
on.
on,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for coming on.
See you in a couple weeks.
See you. Are you coming?
Maybe.
Rod, get someone to pay us all there. You know?
Rod, come to Brazil.
Yeah, Rod, get us
I'm on
there.
it. I'm on it. As long as Sliggy and Hiko are going, I'll make
The
this
Wisemen there.
happen. Sliggy's been quiet as can be this entire
Hey,
time.
I'm not leaking anything.
All right, thank you so much, Melon, for coming on. We'll see you in a couple weeks. See what happens.
Okay.
We'll talk
okay.
again.
Okay. Thank you guys. See you.
Oh,
Have a good
man,
show.
See ya.
Thanks again.
All right, see you. Picking Leviathan to win it all.
Look how seamless this transition was.
Yeah, that was nice.
Clean.
He's gonna need that security, Hiko. So you're gonna have to help him out.
Wait, why do we have Slasher in the middle?
That's how it was supposed to be. All right, but we gave Sliggy the
No.
spotlight because that's
I think just
for
put
the
Sean in there
return.
for now, actually.
I
Rod,
don't
you
want to
need,
be in the middle.
Rod, you need a
Cool down
light.
here.
It's so dark in your room.
It's
okay. Never mind. Here. Okay, there you go. Whenever I have the dock open,
he's like a vampire.
wait, wait,
Like you
wait.
put any more light than this, he's just gonna like burn up or something.
No, wait, turn it back on.
you see what happens when I actually turn the light on. All right, I'm a vampire. Okay, I am a ghost. You ever seen Powder, the movie in like the early 2000s, late 90s?
Nah, but I've seen Casper.
Crickets.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Casper, Powder, that is me. Boaster and Yinsu are. They should be good to go in maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Yinsu just got home again. Everyone's just getting home, okay? And Minnie did let Boaster out of VOD review early. So thank you,
Generous
Minnie.
today.
You're a real pal.
Thank you, Minnie.
That's Sliggy's 5-stack squad, right?
Yeah.
Do you think while she's getting set up, I mean, we can ask Boaster, do you think NA ranked is worse than all the other regions? I feel like all the players, every region complains about ranked. Let's make that clear. But it seems like when players from EU come to NA and they play NA ranked, they're like, "Oh my god, this is way worse than EU." And even with EU players not even all speaking the same languages.
The big thing we have in the EU is no one uses mics. Like that's a big thing.
Probably a good thing.
That can sometimes be a good thing as well. Like if you have some super toxic people and not using mics, that's like the one thing in the EU. Like if you get 2 people using the mic, that's a good lobby. So that's where we kind of stand. So I think people kind of go to NA and they're like, "Oh, people are using mics," and then everyone's super toxic, and then they're just like,
"Oh, too much, Mike."
Yeah.
I mean, Sasi's already said that NA rank was awful, and he prefers Brazil. So if EU is automatically better, and Sasi is already saying Brazil is better than NA, I think so. NA is probably the worst. I don't know about Asia.
I don't know. I can't tell if NA West servers are the worst or the best. I mean, they're definitely
Like the North Cali
something.
servers?
Yeah, have you ever been in those, Josh?
Yeah, I think because of low ping, but it's just like you
it's
get
an
those
experience.
people that play only there and then they have nowhere to go but like up to Radiant, but they just like have no idea how to play the game. But that's because they only play against other people who have no idea how to play the game.
Bro, Wesker servers are amazing. You find some amazing people in those.
No, if you want the experience of people that are just like freaks, you go to the fringe server. You go to like the Georgia, the North Cali, Oregon's probably filled with those people. I've never played on an Oregon, but I can only imagine.
I do think with partnership beginning and everyone going to be located in Los Angeles, the West server might actually be pretty decent.
Riot's going to add a Denver, 100%. They're adding a new location, right? That's
Yeah,
got
they
to be
said
a
that.
Denver location because like all the teams that are going to LA for partner, like they want to have like a Denver server so people can play on like another central location. It's got to be that. Like I could be way off, but that makes the most sense to me.
Seems like they should have a Denver server.
Sasha got real
Yeah.
quiet, like he's got some insider info or something about that. Did I just crack
No, I
the
mean,
code or something?
when we saw Overwatch League, when everyone got moved to Los Angeles and all the Korean players and all the Korean teams moved to LA, the server actually got pretty good and rank became like pretty decent.
But these are North Cali servers. They're not even LA servers. It's like San Francisco or something.
Are Cali servers all in NorCal? Damn.
Yeah. For the Valorant ones, I think they're all like AWS data center locations, and I don't think they have any in LA. It's like San Francisco and stuff.
Yeah.
Or somewhere up there.
I think it is
So-
NorCal and Oregon.
Yeah, it's NorCal and Oregon. It's not LA. Like if it was LA and everyone had like 510 ping, like it would be like one thing, but it's like it's NorCal.
Well,
That's
the
why I
League of
was saying
Legends players
Denver.
all complained enough until they got their own special server for pro players only directly from Riot. Maybe we'll see that in Valorant too. On top of Premier, maybe they'll make a pro, Champions Queue is what it's called in League of Legends.
I didn't even know that existed. So it's like the Tarek thing, except in the game.
Yeah, League of Legends has their own special ranked queue in California, in SoCal, called Champions Queue.
Didn't know that.
All right, looks like Yinsu's ready.
And yeah, are they Yinsu and Boaster? They should be together.
Aw.
Prove it.
Oh my god! There they are!
Wait, you can't see my shirt. What the fuck is this?
Stand up then. Wait, go a bit lower.
can
actually.
swear.
You gotta keep this.
Oh,
Edward
Oh,
be
no.
gaming.
Kick
Let's
her off, kick her off.
go.
Buster, push her away.
I
Push
can't
her out of the
actually. We
clip.
got no space here. It's just there's only
Wait,
tables.
you can't actually see it. I'm gonna have to do the whole podcast like this.
I actually didn't think I could see you guys in the same spot ever, because I do broadcast work with Yinsu and Boaster's a player, so like you guys are never in the same spot.
No, that's true.
Oh,
I'm in the other
Sean,
room.
Sean was at the event that you didn't make.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Great.
good.
Thanks for that.
That's fucked up.
Jeez.
I
me.
did.
See you later,
Oh,
bro.
that's fucked up.
Wait, Josh and I were too, actually. Just saying.
Really cutthroat up there.
Yeah, I remember you were at the what was it, the Berlin event? I was like,
Berlin, yeah.
missed
That's
out
just true.
there.
Don't worry, I missed out on the rest. I missed out on the thank
Me
Yeah,
too,
that's-
though.
We miss you as well. It's a lot less fun without you. Still, it's a lot less fun. A lot less fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, people don't talk as much on stage. I feel like they're quite tame. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
well, tame.
Oh.
That's one way to put it.
Quick question. Yinsu, did you go to the Pro Invitational thing that Boaster went to? And second follow-up question, how was it?
Which one? The Egypt one or?
So
Japan, right?
the show match thing in Japan, yeah.
Oh, that was unreal. By the way, all I'm gonna say is like this year, Brazil is gonna be, it's gonna be fun. Champions, I'm sure all the pros are gonna want to go, but like you want to go to Japan. Like no lie. We were there for what? It was a full day of show matches. It was like it wasn't serious, best of ones, and 16K people rocked up for this, and they were like crying when they saw like you in the stadium just walking around. There were people genuinely in tears, like this is the greatest day of my life. I get to watch these pros play Valorant.
Yeah. Skinny little
Everyone-
white boy walking around the event. Hello.
Everyone was, yeah. I remember being like,
Hello.
I'm like, he's not worth crying over. Like he's just some random like dude. But they came like with so many gifts. Like, do you remember the gifts that the Zeta boys were getting?
Yeah.
Like every single team had a cardboard box of gifts, like with the team name on it. So it would be like FNATIC had a box. It was majority just gifts for you, to be fair. And then like DRX had a box, PaperX had a box, but then Laz had like 6 boxes of just himself. And fans are giving him like, I think there was a picture we saw. There was some like Louis Vuitton stuff in there. Like they don't joke around.
God.
They genuinely do not joke around. So I reckon the Japan event is going to be the best, maybe even esports event, one of the best of all time. Because when we were there was a COVID law that fans were not allowed to actually cheer in the crowd.
It just got lifted.
Yeah, they just
They
had
were
like
going so
battens.
hard.
They were like, if someone was clutching, like they couldn't physically scream because of COVID regulations. But that just got lifted. So if 16K people are turning up to a show match, like, and it was just FNATIC DRX, PaperX, Zeta, and Detonation Focus Me. Like, I cannot imagine what they're going to be like when there's like 10 teams rocking up in Japan. It's going to be insane. Yeah.
Dude, that sounds so hype. What the? I want to go.
You should come.
I
You
want
should come.
Japanese fans.
you'd
I want a
enjoy
Louis
it.
Vuitton item. What do I do to get some fans?
Yinsu, there is a real possibility that EDG and FNATIC could meet in the quarterfinals.
Is there?
In lock-in. What are you gonna do?
Is there?
Putting you on the spot. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, sure. What you say? It's possible. It is possible.
I hope you're not flaming us.
Bro, I think it's more possible.
Yeah,
I think
was gonna say.
it's more possible that Sleek is gonna come out of retirement and be like Fnatic's sixth man than this happening.
What
I
is
feel like.
this?
I know,
Why is
right?
everyone
What-
just getting shots?
Yeah.
Only because I saw Sleeky recently. You know, we were hanging out at the Fnatic HQ, like definitely not giving away.
Oh, okay.
That's where he's
He's
been?
getting
Okay.
signed to.
Got some leads.
Wow.
That's true.
The
Actually.
leaks are coming in.
He was begging Minnie for a job, to be fair. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It's kind of cringe. Sorry, what was the question?
About us
I'm not
and
asking a question right now. I feel like everyone's getting just destroyed right now. Like Boaster's getting publicly humiliated
know,
again.
right?
by you. I'm just like, let the poor guy live. I don't want to ask any questions right now. I guess.
Every question. I just come on, finish scrims, VOD review's done. I told Minnie I gotta go. He's like, no, you can't. I was like, make me. And then I took my shirt off and showed my big muscles, and then he shut up. Then after that,
I mean, they
Goddamn.
are big to Minnie, so
oh, that's
fair
true.
enough.
Actually, yeah.
EDG, yes, sorry, EDG. I had a really interesting interview with the FPX boys, and I don't know what to expect from these two Chinese teams. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's gonna be in the nicest of ways, it's gonna be a fiesta. I just don't think they beat 100 Thieves round one. I think if it was any other team, from in NA, even if it was like a Cloud9 or Sentinels, maybe I could have a bit of copium, but I don't see a world where EDG beats 100 Thieves. So in my mind, I do not see the Fnatic versus EDG at this event. Yeah, I just don't see it.
I think there's a high chance of Fnatic versus Sentinels though, so that's going to be a banger. I think
Yeah.
that's going to be. Yeah.
How are you
for
feeling
sure.
about that?
Who's-
How do you feel
How
about
am I-
that?
I'll
as
win
well?
that one.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. You know, like Sentinels was like the we faced them in the finals was the last time we played them. Now we get to. It's a completely different team, admittedly, just 10's there. But at least we get to face them at the start this time, and hopefully get some sweet revenge on the org.
He is kind of the reason that you lost, though. Like he hard Durka diffed on the grand finals, like hard.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah.
So yeah,
But, yeah. So honestly, I just we're just prepping. There's no time to be thinking about like consequences or anything like that. It's just like as long as we prep hard and we're confident in terms of like the stuff that we have prepared, then I think we can beat anyone at that event, because it's really starting to click recently. Like obviously when we first started, it was like Chronicle getting used to us. It was still kind of integrating Leo as well a bit more. But now like this week has like really started to click, and our map pool and our kind of playbook is actually looking kind of looking tasty. So I'm looking forward to it, and we still have time. Normally it's like the day before where we're like, okay, maybe we have something going on here. But now we got time to actually kind of iron out even more stuff. So
don't say this though.
what do you
Don't
mean?
say-
I'm not
'cause,
saying we're
like,
gonna win. I'm saying we're
Dude,
just
like
looking.
Red
we're gonna enjoy
VLR,
it.
all the is gonna implode. Now you've said this.
Oh
It's
no,
gonna
but you don't listen to
implode.
those guys, do you?
Eh?
You don't
Yeah,
listen
so-
to Red and VLR, right?
Was it
Surely not.
Oh,
hard to
VLR
incorporate
is unreal.
Harbor? Was it hard to incorporate Harbor into your comms?
Harbour. Oh no, honestly, I'm a natural at Harbour. Honestly, I've been
Just trying to get
working
him
on
to just drop
every
and
map.
slip.
Yeah. The
No.
walls.
Those walls.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be walking through my walls. That's for sure. They'll be drowning.
No.
Yeah. Got the secret tech. Yeah, but Harbour, I'm not sure how I feel about him. Truthfully, let's be real. I think NA's running him. I can see. I mean, I saw FaZe, and I was just like, they were running the.
Wait, was it fake on Icebox?
On Icebox.
Oh,
Yeah, it was-
my
it was
God.
FaZe, yeah.
Icebox. And I was like,
What was
okay, I
that?
think I could actually make some cool strats for this. But they just didn't have the same vision as I saw when I saw them use the comp. I don't think they
I mean,
played it to its full extent on attack side. That's for sure.
You said you gave me all the like as soon as that comp locked in, I asked you because I think he was at the gym, I was watch partying, and you gave me all the strats, and I was like, okay, and they didn't run a single one that you had said that they
No,
should
yeah,
do.
they were doing a lot of
So,
default plants on B,
yeah.
and I was like, that's not your comp there, bro. You've got so many walls. It's time to drown them. That's all I'm saying. Karo, flash me, baby. Let's go.
No, they did some pretty sick like You see their pistol, the top A site plant with the cove.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That set the tone, and then the rest was kind of
Yeah,
like,
they peaked on
Yeah,
pistol.
that was
Yeah.
it. It was like, oh, it's looking
was a beat.
tasty.
What I will say about the Sentinels game is think how good the post match celebration is going to be, because
Yeah, if we can think of one.
we do this thing where like we at events, like after they do their post match celebrations and stuff, we always go on like Sliggy, your stream normally, and see your reaction. And sometimes I see like people upload onto YouTube like Hiko and Tarek's reactions to it.
I do the
and-
whole run of the
yeah,
stream. I'm going on
we
everyone.
do that literally.
Let's have a look here.
Genuinely, after a game, we'll be sitting in our room on our like little phones, like, oh, I wonder what like Hiko said about this celebration today. The Astra Op thing, I died because I was like clicking at every streamer's reactions, and everyone's had like pretty funny reactions. And I get to Hiko's, and he's just like, "This guy's so fucking stupid. Like, what is this?"
Easy.
He made it work though. I can't take it away
Yeah, it
from
was
him.
so
He
good.
worked good
It's
with
so-
it.
Yeah. So that's why I like watching other people react to your celebrations, and I feel like that Sentinel one, there's a juicy one coming out for that
Maybe.
for sure.
I got to think of
playing
one
it
now.
Wow,
Plain
he's feeling the
Sentinel.
pressure.
Guess you'll have to figure one out now.
yeah, exactly. Now she's big me up.
We spoke about
Yeah.
this already. We got a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
We
if-
got a really
I don't know if I got the time to be making what you want me to make.
I'll do it for you, and then you
Arts
can
and
just
crafts
execute
with
it.
Boaster. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, but the shroud one, I don't know if you guys remember the shroud one. You had to print that out, like
Yeah,
His
that
face
was,
out.
that was last minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the mask, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Mini was Shroud. Right?
Yeah, he was.
What did you do against us? You had like the beach outfit or some shit.
No, it was Eccles.
No, yours was
Swimsuit.
Justice for Eccles.
Justice for Eccles.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was my walk in. That was my walk in, the beach outfit. I thought since your guys are finally coming to the event to play against us, as in like instead of being at the hotels, I better rock up in the swimming outfit today. Real intimidation tactics here, swimming down the ramp. Oh, this Boaster, he doesn't even care. Meanwhile, I'm just shaking in my boots.
My favorite is Angel's reaction. If you guys ever go back at any time FNATIC play FPX and you get Angel and Boast on stage together, he's giving you the literal
so
dirtiest look.
confused.
He's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's so good. I love those reactions.
How many celebrations do you have planned so far?
0. We haven't planned them since the first Iceland. We just
Yeah.
made like we were like, oh bloody hell, we got to do celebrations now. We started it now, so we're like, it's kind of a
There-
tradition. So
There's
we're-
some team
we-
ones
we-
that you have in the locker. Yeah.
I mean,
Like if you
back
play
in the
Sentinels,
day-
like there is one. We have one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That was 1 minute before coming on the podcast.
No,
so
I
that-
told you about this before, but you have a goldfish memory.
I just don't listen.
Yeah.
It's all about
Yeah.
Valorant for me, baby. Think I got time to socialize.
It's true.
Too busy on Valorant.
We asked Vanity last week about going up against like one of the tournament favorites, PRX, in the first round, as compared to like later on in the bracket. Does it make you more like not necessarily nervous going into a first round matchup with a tournament favorite, or are you more excited to go up against like a big powerhouse team rather than maybe a more easy walkover type of
Are
matchup?
Sentinels the tournament favorite?
Well, their
No
roster
way,
is
man.
stacked. They got a stacked roster.
Talk your
I'll
shit.
give them
Talk
that.
your
Do
shit.
you feel like they've gotten better?
Bro,
Do you
talk
feel like they've
your
gotten
shit.
better?
Let
Talk
me
your
talk
shit.
it. Let me talk it. Right. So, oh, did someone want to say something?
I was just gonna say Yinsu's getting mad at you for saying that like
Yeah.
you have a good scrapbook, and then now she's saying she wants you to talk mess about Sentinels. Like you
Yeah,
gotta
I
make
know,
up
right?
your mind. You're playing both sides of the
Alright.
fence here.
I am, yeah.
I'll talk my shit then.
No,
Look,
not
our
about
bold
you,
player's
about
better than
Sentinels,
theirs, that's for
yeah.
sure. I know that.
Oh wait, who's?
We
Oh,
got Dirk
Dirk.
for Sassy, right? That's 2 bold players. No, I think having to play against Sentinels in the first round, I think is like, I think it's cool. I'd rather have them than like, beat a lower tier team or
Like?
a lower standard team. I'm not saying like, what are you doing here?
So many people are getting collided right now.
Yeah, I know. Play a lower standard team and then lose in the next game against, like, for instance, a Sentinel Zen. Like, I'd rather, like, I'm going to this event because I believe that I can win it with my team. We can win it. We believe that we can win it. We want to play everyone possible to make that win even more triumphant. Like, imagine the run you see, like, what, they knocked Sentinels out first round. Blimey, 100 Thieves / EDG next. Man, FNATIC were loving that event. Like, imagine those talks. So I'm happy I'm just kind of looking forward to playing again. Yeah.
What's your guys' prac schedule been looking like leading into this tournament?
6 days a week, server time for an hour and a half, probably, like kind of what we plan to do for the maps. And we normally play about 2 scrims, and then we call it a day there. No, we play about 2 scrims, have a break, do a little bit more server time, and then we play 2 more scrims and just VOD review. And that's pretty much
You
it.
only started in January, right?
Yeah.
You kind of had like the full off season.
Yeah, so we started in January, and then we had to go to Berlin for kind of like the obligational content stuff.
Media yeah.
Stuff. So then like we had like 5 days, 6 days there, and we were trying to just fit in scrims whenever possible. But I mean, we haven't had too much like playing time, but because we didn't have too much playing time, it meant that we could have a lot more preparation time. So when we do our playing time now, at least like in VOD review server time, we actually have bare stuff to go through. So it's like just building the blocks really, and just kind of making our maps stack out. And
you should hear the strat names. What was the one that you showed me yesterday? Because you
a mega fuck A.
Yeah, there we go. I was
like,
okay.
Whoever's on A, you better watch out.
In fairness, when I saw the actual like strat, I was like, yeah, someone's getting 100% a mega fucked here.
But we haven't tested that one yet. I'm waiting for the map to come on rotation.
A lot tamer than the names I come up for strats. So I mean, that makes sense. Mega fuck A, but
I got Justin
I don't think
Bieber
I can repeat
as well.
some of the...
That's less tame, you know.
No, you just gotta like the ones that you can't even repeat on a podcast are the ones that you know.
Sheesh.
Oh,
you
wait,
know
you
they're
got?
A little.
No, I don't have any of them.
Can I say?
Can I say the one that you can't say on the podcast?
Yeah, watch out, guys.
What you got into?
Can I say a synonym for anal? Can I say that? You got that when I'm buying.
You can say whatever. We don't have any sponsors.
Basically...
You can say whatever you want.
Yes.
Showers butt fuck. I'm buying.
He's
Is it tame? Showers butt fuck is tame.
No, that's probably like similar levels.
Nice.
That's out of 6. That's okay.
That's a classic. That one was a good strat.
I use that in my rank. Yeah, it's good.
I think I experienced that one at Champions, actually.
that wasn't even in the server. You know what I'm saying? No, joking.
Oh god!
I'll just fucking leave.
I don't think we're getting a sponsor now. That's
I think we would do something.
My bad.
I think Spencer, you can remember. Did we have like something to do with like don't drop the soap or something for? Yeah, never mind.
I don't remember. I remember
We just need to just move on.
Right, I just remember.
Let's just move on.
Homelander.
That's what we did. A lot of the boys, right? Yeah, boys' character names for a lot of strat names, but there were some that were when we realized that other people were listening in, it was like let's maybe just like not be as vulgar.
Yeah, and then people forget the strat. They're like, "What strat's that?"
Yeah.
It's muscle memory by then.
The vulgar ones definitely help you remember. That's for sure.
Go
ahead, Sean.
I'm curious, like, what Boaster's thoughts are on Lotus and like what the region is feeling on the map. Like, you guys getting a lot of scrims on it? Is it grief and ranked? Like, how's it going over there?
In ranked, it's rare that you get a Lotus game because I swear, Lotus came up, someone dodged 4 times, but eventually we did get one. I feel like it's hard to know what the region's saying right now. I'd be intrigued to know what NA's or like all these other regions are doing on Lotus, because right now for us, like we're just playing it, and like I personally like the map. Like I think it's without giving too much away. I like the map, yeah.
But Fnatic are always best at the maps that you like.
That's
literally
true, because like Pearl, I'm not gonna lie, I'll take the credit for Pearl at the last event, because I was like, we were doing okay in scrims, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, Mini. Look, we're doing okay. Like we got it down. I understand the map. We get to event, lose 3 times on Pearl, and then we get scared against the DRX veto because we're like, oh, we don't want to leave open Pearl anymore. And even though they had never picked it in the first place, so yeah, it was that Pearl. I hate that stupid map.
You feel like EU is the strongest region? going into lock-in?
I still do
I know,
think.
I know there's some bias here.
No.
I still think well,
NA is the strongest region for sure.
I still think EMEA is the strongest
you
region.
counting?
We
No,
we got
no.
Navi still. We got us.
No, I'm including like Lev and Loud and Furia and like NA as in like
Oh,
your
okay,
like
so not the
franchise.
Americans.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the Americans are 100% better than EU, for sure. I reckon, because there's some bots. I'm
Ooh.
not. I don't want
Okay,
to.
no, let's explain.
Sliggy.
No,
Who are the
Yinsu.
bots?
Sliggy knows,
Whoa,
Sliggy
whoa.
said no.
Yeah, yeah,
Sliggy knows.
yeah.
Hey, yo,
Who are the
Sliggy,
bots?
Threw me into this.
Sliggy,
No.
back me up.
I
Back
think
me up,
everyone's
Sliggy.
incredible.
No,
Sliggy,
no,
back
no,
me up.
Yinsu, this is for
No,
you.
I think
What's going on in the
You go,
bottom
Sean.
of EMEA? Because I have no idea. Like, how good are
The
some of these teams at
gutters.
the bottom of EMEA? Like-
underrated.
I feel like there's some real dark horses, but then there's some real like I have no idea, like actually zero knowledge, zero info, zero expectations. But then there's a couple of teams I feel like people are just not gonna take notice, like Vitality. I think Vitality are gonna do good, but no one's talking about them. You know, like no
Yeah.
one's that hyped about seeing them.
What about
or-
like
They're a good
Giants,
coach.
K Corp, Foot, BBL? There's all these teams that we just don't see a lot.
Yeah, honestly.
BBL is the clout match though. That is that is like the clout. I
Mm-hmm.
think the all-time record in EMEA for the highest viewing game was G2 versus BBL. Like this is a clout team that's gonna come in. I also think they're gonna be okay as well.
I think
Yeah.
honest truth opinion here. How many days we got until we got X amount of days to the first batch of teams play. I think some
10 days.
EMEA teams won't be ready for that first batch fully with a full map pool. But for the second batch, I think most of the EMEA teams will be ready by then to with a decked out enough map pool. That's what I think right now. From quality of scrims, I think ideas are there going, and like obviously we got good players. There's no doubt about that. It's just about whether the time frame that's left is are we going to be able to kind of get all our stuff together and perform well. And I think I don't know what it's like for NA, but that's how I think EMEA is right now. I think they're good, but we're not looking like, oh sheesh, like we're gonna be unreal.
I think
But
our
who
good,
knows?
I think our good teams are really good, and but I feel like NA's maybe like not the like top 3 teams, but the ones that are after them are better than the ones we have. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah,
Does
I'd
that make
say so,
sense?
yeah.
Most-
Yeah.
Boaster, do you feel like the second group of teams have a competitive advantage than the first group?
Honestly, I don't know, because the second group's going to have less time to prepare the anti-strats. But then again, I don't even know how the format works. I'm just focusing on the first game first. I got to live that, then I can start thinking
It's
about
sing-
what-
it's
win
single
your group-
elimination.
if you win your group, you play the winner of the people that just played, and they get to watch all of your group. Everyone, like the people that win Group A, they get to watch everything
yeah.
that's
So
happening
it's
in your
in the
group.
finals.
Yes.
Yeah. So honestly, it's not. I don't know what the day break between the finals and the semi-finals of my second group game is. Like, you know, like my semi-finals into the finals to play the Group A or whatever. I explained that terribly, but
It's like 3 days, I think.
if
or
it's
2
3 days,
days.
3 days
Two,
is
3
long
days,
enough.
2,
Like
3
I've
days.
been doing random ass anti-strats in 6 hours. You know, like if you get the head down and get on with it, then you can have an idea of the enemy's map. So I think that I think they probably do have a slight advantage, but also it's a disadvantage to any of the newer teams because they might get diffed by those teams that have been established for longer because they already have a core structure going on. So that's what I think.
What do you guys think about the meta going into? Oh, sorry. One of you have something?
What?
Nothing.
What do I think of what? Sorry.
Well, I thought someone was gonna ask something. I want to ask, what do you think about the meta going into Sao Paulo? We talked earlier about maybe double duelist making a little bit of a comeback. Some
Stinger Force Spies.
Yeah, Stinger Force Spies. Do you feel like we're gonna see anything, out of nowhere, or kind of what we've been seeing through Challengers is gonna just transfer over?
I think what we see through Challengers. I think like there's not going to be anything. I mean, NA's had some crazy comps already in the 4 games that I've seen, but not like absurdly. I do think the phase 1 on Icebook was a bit wild, but I don't think many teams will be running that one.
Mhm.
I've seen from obviously the Tarek and Ludwig event, like what those teams also were cooking up. So I don't know if we're going to see anything crazy. We might see some teams do it though. It's just hard to say. I think
Sliggy wants the fade Sova. I can
the
already feel it.
That's 100 Thieves style
Yeah.
right now, isn't it?
The fade pick rate in challengers has dropped to 0.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
I saw that on the Reddit
nobody
today,
picked fade, not even one time so far.
But Sliggy's like, but both of them though, Sova and fade.
At the moment, I've moved on. I want the Cypher and Killjoy together.
Oh,
That's where I'm at.
Oh my
he's lost
god.
it.
I like
That's
it.
nice.
Of course you
King
do.
of
I like it.
cringe.
Split an icebox. Yeah, that's nice.
I like it. I'm down for that.
Yeah, well, Sliggy loves turtling up. That's what I think. Not like that, but like.
Oh,
Maybe you like that too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it as soon as there's silence. Have you? So Loud's over, right? Loud's over here doing a bootcamp. Have you played them at all?
No.
Does that change your opinions on
We-
the kind of NA region and how they look?
We didn't want to play Loud because obviously Sentinels has 2 Brazilians in it, and like we still well, for us at Fnatic, we still think that some teams share like stuff, like information.
Who?
Like I'm not calling out now, but like we had a talk with like for instance us, we never talk to any other teams, but even teams think we do. Like we.
Yeah, but Mini doesn't
For
want
me
anyone
and
to
Minnie,
win.
it's very
Yeah.
important that we can keep our competitive integrity throughout anything. So we don't share anything. We don't talk to anyone. But we have a feeling that some teams do that, and we don't want to play with versus teams / players that could potentially do that. Or we don't want to show too much against them. So it doesn't make sense to play against Loud in our heads. Like we're not going to miss out on that much. We can go play. Once we get over to Sao Paulo against some teams like that and get a vibe for that play style.
it's interesting you said that because I remember when I was still competing and when Steel and I were teammates, that was something that was pretty rampant where we knew which teams are really close to other teams, which players are really close friends to other players, and like these people would record our scrims and send our VODs of scrims to the other teams to try and mess with us, you know, and it happened more frequently than a lot of people probably realized. And, you know, once it got out internally that, you know, teams are doing that, then you do like kind of blacklist them. It's like, okay, we're not scrimming against such team anymore. Like, especially if they're sharing, you know, our recordings or what we're doing. So
Exactly.
that is something obviously that happens in the EU as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I haven't, obviously I have no proof of it. But
we did have one scandal. We had a scandal where someone was there was like a Discord server where they were actively selling. It was like a tier 3. I think it was a tier 3, tier 2 player who was actively like recording his POV and then just selling it to like anyone that will buy it. We did have that scandal.
Don't tell him about my Discord channel. I earned so much there.
Oh my god.
No joking.
Is Boaster running the crypto throwing Discord too? I knew it.
Yeah.
You're the one. You were specifically ruining North American rank.
That's true.
That was an implosion here.
That's me. I'm a
Schemer.
bad boy.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
I feel you. I feel like
Last
there's
time
so many
we're ever
people
getting
that play
invited now.
comp and shit. There's definitely comp leaders in this game. I was terrified to scrim teams from APAC ahead of playing PRX and shit. Like I was, I don't know. You just don't know who you can trust. Like,
yeah,
because I agree.
Don't trust anyone.
It's weird. I noticed you guys don't really play a lot of the tier 1 teams though. Like when I was looking at your scrims, I was like, oh, these guys aren't scrimming in the same people we are.
How do you know?
At events, we dodge people at events, but generally, yeah. We normally look at the group stages and be like, all right, they're in that bracket. Do we think they're gonna get out or not? And then if we think that maybe they might not get out, then we'll probably go for them because then we're still getting that kind of one ping prac experience, but also not jeopardizing ourselves potentially if we have to play them.
At the first
that why-
Iceland, you just scrim liquid, right? The first Iceland.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we didn't think we'd see
Because you
them.
thought they
We
would
had
sit
to.
out. That's fucked
You
up.
guys didn't want to scrim us though. I remember this because I remember when we had to like persuade you and Minnie because you guys came into the tournament and you were like, oh, we're not playing like anyone from the tournament. And I remember us having to go to like Minnie and being like, Minnie, we're getting like 60 pings. Our PCs are getting like 80 FPS.
Yeah.
Like the least we can do is play on like a LAN server against these. So it took some convincing, but we practiced a lot against you.
Mm.
But I think it helps.
I'm not gonna lie. Before we played you guys at Champions on Pearl, we played like 6 scrims on Pearl. We played Liquid twice, and when you guys picked Pearl, I was like, these motherfuckers, these EMEA motherfuckers, they're cheating us.
Oh.
Oh no, we had no clue. We just thought that I
Yeah.
honestly thought that, hey, they haven't had that much prep on Pearl. We've had a bit longer. Surely I'm smart. And then apparently I'm not on that map.
Also,
yeah.
nobody is ever going to share with Minnie. Like, nobody wants Minnie to win.
That's true.
Like,
No one in EMEA wants Minnie.
nobody wants
Yeah,
you to win.
that's true.
So ain't no one. Like, Sliggy's never going to do that. Imagine Minnie going to Sliggy and asking for leads.
The only thing I'd do to Minnie is give him like a wrong comp, so he plans for something
Yeah.
wrong,
Oh,
and then he just wastes all his time.
That would be funny.
We were talking to Gustavo earlier about who he thinks is going to win. He picked Leviathan even over the Brazilian teams, which is a huge rivalry for Brazil. What teams besides yourself, of course, are you think have the best chances of win? Who's been impressing you?
I think just through kind of like I will also have to agree with Leviathan because of the kind
me
of
too.
history of the coach owner in terms of like what he did for Crew that one time, like how he helped them to kind of succeed, and then he obviously went to Leviathan after, and how much they improved as well. With I don't know if it was just him or like the other coach as well, because there was another coach always kind of with him paired. So I do think Leviathan are definitely up there.
But what if they don't play Taco and Kesnet at the same time? Because they're planning to either play Taco or Kesnet, not both. So it's sounding like it's more Kesnet than Taco right now. It feels like they're just gonna run a 5-man.
I believe
roster.
Kesnet is subbing in for Taco. He did a podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
They're coach, and so Kesnet will be subbing in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So on paper, if you have both Taco and Kesnet, that's like a winning team, even without all of the context, I feel like. But I don't know how I feel about just that difference of not having them at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, like I said, I haven't played them yet. But I think for Leviathan, I think from NA there is definitely like an NA team. I don't know what Scrim Bucks is like. I don't know if 100 Thieves can do it yet. Personally, what do you mean?
Who's your team from NA?
Why are you looking at me like that?
I feel like they're the obvious favorite.
I think they're still young gunners. I think they're still young gunners. I will just say it like that. I think, but they could prove me
they're
wrong.
due for like a mistake. Like they're due to trip up in a series.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like I feel that way about the other NA teams, not them.
I think NRG has just got kind of like they've got the core that's obviously been successful throughout the kind of 2 years of playing, and they've added artists as well. So I don't think there's been that much of a big change up for them.
Yeah, but 100 Thieves only just added Cryo.
I know they've been around. Obviously, Cryo is actually very good, but I don't know. I just think I don't know.
What about C9? I mean, for a lot of people in NA, they are the team that has the best chance of going further.
I don't think C9 because like I just I don't know yet. From seeing them at the obviously it was like early days.
Vanity.
But
I'm gonna do vanity like that. We're gonna get a call in a second. Yeah, we're gonna
hear this.
like that.
Motivational. Put it on the whiteboard right now.
Every team prefers.
Vanity will probably
agree. For me to say, I don't think so.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Actually, I do think Cloud9, 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Cloud9's gonna win the whole thing.
Expected to win it. If they don't, what is going on?
I think the Cloud9 off players having to play off role is what concerns me more, and also chamber nerf. Like it's basically a yay nerf. I have more. I have more question marks about Cloud9 than I do about NRG and 100 Thieves personally, but that's just because like they have to like Zelsus and Leaf have to play off row a little bit. I know they did this whole troll IGL thing, which was just purely like a prank at the Red Bull tournament. But again, Chamber getting nerfed. I feel like a lot of players got nerfed, but then also a lot of players got buffed. Like Durka got a bit of a buff in this meta.
Yeah, I think honestly this meta is my favorite type of meta personally. So for me, it's my favorite. I don't think it suits Paper X, so I don't see them like roles wise. I'm trying to see like what roles they would do. and it's conflicting roles. Same with Cloud9. Like you need to have those set kind of roles, otherwise people are just going to be. I don't know how to explain it. We did originally have people kind of swapping roles depending on what map, and it just doesn't work. I don't think you need consistency in that kind of play style because you don't have enough time to learn all the intricacies of your agent. Otherwise, there's things that a Sova can do that another person playing Sova with less time won't be able to do, just based off like timing of info and stuff. It's just really important. I don't think this game runs like Counter-Strike that much in that sense, you know.
So who
Wait,
do you think is
I'm
going to
confused. Because Yinsu, you said that you thought Cloud9 was going to do better, and Boaster said no.
Yeah.
But then it sounded like you were trying to backpedal there because of the Zelsis and Leaf role issue there, right?
Yeah, I said no because they juggle roles, right?
Yeah,
so that's why I think no.
So you originally thought that Cloud9 were going to do good, but you've backpedaled.
No, I didn't. I never
said
that.
No.
Oh, we're in agreement then.
I feel like okay. Then maybe I misunderstood something. I thought Yinsu, you were backpedaling a bit because you thought that they were going to do better. But
no.
Maybe I misunderstood that. From playing Sentinels, Energy, Cloud9, 100 Thieves.
Here we go. This is why
I definitely feel like
we've all forgotten.
And EG, sorry, yeah. I definitely feel like Sentinels and Energy feel stronger to play against than 100 Thieves and Cloud9 and EG. EG didn't seem like they did anything like too crazy. Cloud9's meta, some maps were like a little weird, and then some maps were like fine. But like I don't know if it's because they just didn't play as like strong in the scrims, or because we were doing well, or what the case was. But like Energy and Sentinels were definitely like innovating, and they were doing stuff like with new off meta, like they were trying newer stuff, and then just like the players were like really just gelling well, it looked like. So maybe like that could just be, it's all scrim, so it doesn't really matter. Like, and then it's also like rock paper scissors stuff where it's like you're obviously going to do better against like one type of style than against another. So that's just how it felt like playing them, is that those teams felt a little bit harder than the other teams. Like 100 Thieves, I agree with Boaster. It's like they're more likely to trip up in like an important moment, and that would be more devastating, obviously. And I don't think it's as likely to happen against Sentinels. And then even NRG, they sometimes do that like whole like choke first map first series thing. So like that's like always a possibility. But in general, they're always like also pretty layered in terms of like depth to their strats and their game plan and everything.
Well, they don't have to play. They don't have to play Talon first, so they're fine. They I feel like they just throw her against Xerxia. They just throw her against X10. They throw her against all those like sushi boys. It's just has their number.
Those games are always close.
Koi though, I think they beat Koi. I think Koi is one of those teams that you mentioned that might not just be ready with a full map pool by then, because like they've had barely any time. I think Starkso wasn't even really scrimming with them until like January, for example. And they're like a full new team. They're not like we had a core 3, let's bring in like 2 people, core 4 change 1 person. That's just like plucking different players from different teams and shoving them together. So I think they're going to be good by VCT MEA, but I don't think they beat NRG. Yeah.
That's why I think it's so important to have that core, because
do you consider Alpha as part of your core?
Yeah, of course. Like he's been in our team and been
I would hope so.
Yeah, but people always say people are like, oh, Mystic has gone now, so it's only you and Durka left as the core.
No, the core is what I mean by the core is that who's scrimmed with us long enough to know bad habits aren't allowed. It's in terms of like these bad habits
specific.
Have to be ironed out throughout that. So 6-month rule or 3-month rule. So like if you've been with us that long, then I've told you something that allows you to be a part of the core. Or minis, like we've explained a map theory that allows you to be part of that core. So I don't have to keep explaining it to new people that keep coming. You know, well, I do have to explain it to new people, but they're just like, come on in. And then we open the door up, they're in. Well,
ID.
Yeah, exactly. Got some ID, love. No jokes, but like, yeah, that's what I think of the core. But I don't know where I'm going. Yeah.
Who do you guys have as the dark horse? Everyone overlooking. No one thinks is going to make a run. At,
FPS.
Okay.
FPS.
Like,
He's
actually,
he's
like,
a
you-
jokester.
I look. I know this is of course, a Chinese bias, but do
Yeah.
you feel like that's like a realistic
Honestly,
scenario? Either team.
dead ass. Like they might, because when you talk
Dead
about
ass.
dead ass
From New York now. I love it.
Yeah, Golden Boy's been
love
teaching
it.
me the lingo. Yeah.
Ah, good. Appreciate Golden Boy.
It's either going to be like some of the worst shit we've ever seen, but it's going to be fun, or it's going to be like opening people's third eyes, like, oh wait, this is how you can play Valorant. I feel like if the latter, even if there's a percentage of the latter happening, it's going to be like a revolutionary, I feel like, time for us. Even they themselves, when I like talk to them and stuff, like the way they speak about the game is just like, it's kind of just insane, like their ideas, their philosophies, like what they do. And the scrimbugs I've heard that EDG is still kind of maybe the more firepower explosive kind of team out of those two, but just having another kind of maybe dimension and layer in the tournament, I think if anything I want to see as much of that as possible. And the fact that they play K-Corp first, I think that game is going to be insane. I think that's going to be such a fun game. Like no matter what happens, that game could, like I said, could be like maybe the worst thing we ever see, or like the best thing we ever see. And I think the percentage is leaning towards the latter right now. And I feel like a dark
Corp's been scrimming. They've been
I
playing well.
I also feel like a dark horse is like, you don't want to pick a dark horse that's actually like, you know, got a big chance. I feel like you go a bit lower, but you can talk about K-Corp scrimming. You've scrimmed against them.
I can't talk about K-Corp scrimming. I think we've only played them once.
Yeah, look, Sliggy's the new coach. Okay, you can't be doing that.
Oh yes,
here, right?
Yeah.
Sliggy's the third brother. There's three of
Exactly.
them. Yeah. I just think obviously K-Corp is like, so much of their identity is the brothers, is Scream, you know, and we know what his playstyle is like. So kind of, and I know what Liquid did to EDG already, but watching that kind of them running into FPX, I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think there will be quite a few like upsets, especially with like it being a single elimination, best of 3. Not many teams have had time to even establish like a map pool. So who knows? Like I was trying to think of all the teams here, but I can't even remember like half the teams.
MIBR is my other dark horse, I would say. I think MIBR having the Heat, like the Heat Vivo Key boys, and combining that with like FRZ and BZK, that's like, that could be like a marriage made in heaven, potentially having just like raw firepower combined with someone the caliber of someone of BZK. And I think if BZK can do like an owner 2.0, like make one Brazilian team super successful and then goes to another one and immediately does the same thing, that's also an incredible storyline. And I'm just saying things that I want to happen, like things that I'm trying to will into existence here. Yeah, they're dark
Not
horse.
sure I'm on board with you about MIBR, but you know, we'll see. Hey, so
take.
we really were over time, and we gotta like end the show.
Wait, you didn't
Kinda
say who
soon.
you want to win. Sorry, I kind of
Don't
took
worry,
over.
What do you mean?
Who do you think is going to win? You never actually said.
Yeah, I have no.
What do
dark
you mean?
horse.
Who do you think
Yeah.
Boaster is gonna choose to win? I wonder.
Probably gonna choose his own team.
Liquid?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go
Liquid.
for Liquid
Yeah,
then.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's go for Liquid.
Yes.
They have the best analysts.
Let's go for FNATIC. You know what I mean?
Wait. Everyone in NA says like Vitality's the sleeper pick. What do you guys feel from like the EMEA side? Is that a fair,
Giants.
fair
What's a
sleeper?
I trust sleepers, like, you know, like not many people are thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
You're sleeping on it, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'd go for, I think Vitality have a good coach. I think like they always that
Their
coach
roles
always
make
has
sense.
decent ideas. But I do think Giants have more firepower. It's hard to say on an EMEA. I have no clue, mate. Like, I do think Vitality is a good shout for the NA region. Like, you can be repping that.
Their group is also quite nice, like in terms of their pathing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I
Although
think both
with
of them are good.
Giants isn't
I'm saying
terrible either.
Yeah, Giants are the one. They're the big underdogs to me. I think Giants are sick. They're like the ones to look out for.
It doesn't matter. NA is gonna win. We're gonna reclaim our throne here
Yeah,
at Lock-In. So
in
it
the-
really
in the-
doesn't matter what NA
In the tournament, that
talking
means
about.
nothing. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, fair enough.
No, we're the
Wait,
kings
what
of
do you mean
clout.
it means nothing?
We're the kings of
Damn, what is
viewership
this?
and the kings of clout. We're gonna have Tarek and the most amount of co-stream viewers for this tournament.
What do
It's
you
all
mean
that really matters.
Bro, you're about
No.
to get BBL'd. Wait until you get the
No.
Turkish fans in there, bro. That's where
We're about
the
to
viewership
win the
goes.
event.
Well,
and
Tarek
hold
is
Pro City
Turkish.
10-mans.
Tarek
Wait,
is going
wait.
to get the
Coast
Turkish
City
fans.
Tarek double dips. Yeah,
Yeah.
he double dips for sure.
If one of the Latam or Brazilian teams win, are you claiming that as NA?
Hell yeah,
If
they're part of our
Sentinels
league.
win,
They're ours.
like for example, if Sentinels wins, they're an NA team. If they
No,
lose,
no, no,
they're Brazilian team.
Oh,
Alright, fair enough.
no, I mean like a Furia or a Crew. Like if Furia wins, is that an NA team? Do you claim that?
I don't think it's allowed.
They're in the
personally.
Americas.
I feel like we take some credit. God. No?
At least half.
I think
at least half.
I feel like you need at least one player. If there's one player who's NA, then it's okay. But if it's a full Brazilian team, it might be our owned by Americans now. I can kind of go with
Look,
that one.
we're already reasoning for it. Like, it's gonna happen. We're gonna take some credit.
I'm getting there. I'm being convinced. Really though,
As is the American way.
Yeah,
And
that's
at
what
the end
we
of the
do here.
day, I haven't been going to the gym just so I can't lift a trophy. I'm gonna one-arm bicep curl that bitch out of the stadium.
You haven't been going to the gym.
I
What are you on
am,
about?
3 days a week.
No, you haven't.
Now, Yinsu,
Damn.
right?
You're
Chest.
getting called out.
Barely
Anytime
one
we
day a
have
week.
Boaster back on the show, Yinsu, you have to be here as well. 'Cause
Oh,
you
yeah.
you really make a great dynamic here.
There we go.
Yeah.
You two are the coolest, hottest duo in Valorant. I really do thank
No,
both of you.
We're
for
we're
coming
just
on.
roommates, bro. What the heck? We're just roommates. Yeah.
You could be a hot
Wow.
roommate duo.
This.
There's nothing. You could be platonic. You could be completely platonic about it, of course. I want to thank both of you for coming on and talking to us, and all the fans. Is there anything you two want to say as we end?
Vamos. Yeah.
Vamos.
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 Yeah.
What time? When do you
I
go
just-
in there? When do you go to Brazil?
I've no clue. I think it's like
You actually don't
I don't actually know
yeah.
yet. I do. There is on the schedule, but I've not been looking because I don't think it's near the time yet. When it gets closer to time, I'll actually have a look. I need to double check if my passport's not expired as well. That's just...
Are any of you coming to Brazil? Are any of you making the trip?
No, but I'm
Rod
told
to sell some
to come to
sponsorships.
Brazil.
Yeah, I'm working on it right now. I'm on it right now. We have two
Sheesh.
hosts that are afraid to go to Brazil, but I think they've been convinced by Gustavo. So now I'm on it.
Nice.
The Wisemen will be in Sao Paulo.
Oh, there's
I
one
have to
thing.
play challengers, unfortunately. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's the one thing we should say, that we're rooting for Disguised Toast. That's the team we're rooting for Ascension. So we'll
No
see you
fav- no-
next
Hell
year.
yeah.
Still,
No
we'll see.
favoritism here. For
Yeah.
We'll see you next year. Yeah.
Okay.
Nepotism here, nice.
Even ground for me here.
What are you on about?
Even
You're
Grant?
such a simp for Disguised
Um,
Toast.
That's true.
I'll
Yinsu's
do
not
my
lying.
best. We'll be
I
back
remember.
stronger and we'll be in partner next year.
Yinsu rooted for you, Josh. I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
the open
Yinsu loved
qualifier, or
No,
Or
like the old
when I
school
was-
100 Thieves days.
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah.
She missed you.
Back in the golden glory days.
Yeah.
Not the game where you beat Ascend, except for that game. All the other games I rooted. Yeah.
All the other.
Not the Ascend game.
That was the most fun game. That was the most.
That was the game.
What about when we beat? What about the Gambit game?
Yeah, the Gambit
yeah,
game.
that was fun. That was also really fun. But the Ascend
That was
game is
just-
where I was giving Sean. We were in the green room and I was giving him bare shit because I was like, "Oh, CNET is shitting all over your boys. Like, let's go." It was like 12-9. I was like, "Pack your bags," and then they just lost. Like I
They were
gave him
chirping.
shit for like an hour.
Bro, they were relentless. Backstage. They were nonstop just chirping in my ears. I couldn't even enjoy the game.
Yeah, it's true story. True story. Yeah. All right, thank you for having us.
Yeah, I was gonna. We're
Yeah.
going.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming
We're
on.
going
It was
again?
fun.
Our main host here is asleep on the job. Thanks, Yinsu and Boaster for coming
Yeah,
on.
you
Yes,
guys,
thank you too for coming on. When you guys move through the bracket, we're gonna have you back on pretty
nice. It's good to
Hell
be
yeah.
an old woman in a group of old men.
soon. You said it, not me.
Good to be a twink. See you later.
Yeah, also, you
What the
said
hell
it,
is
not me.
going on?
He's gone. All right, thank you guys.
All right, editor,
Goodbye.
cut the end of
Thanks,
that.
guys.
Okay.
Bye. Love you both.
Dude, thank you, Boaster. All right. And that does it for episode 3 of the Wisemen. Hope everyone liked watching the show. Next week will be the final show right before VCT lock-in. We're officially going to do our our pick'ems next week on the show, where we all argue about who's going to go where. We're going to have a 5-man argument, so I'm going to be the tiebreaker if we need one for our group pick'ems. We're also going to be doing power rankings next week, and we will have on Pansy as our guest, our great friend of the show. She will be coming on to talk to us all about it, and hopefully we'll have on Angel. Navi's scrim schedule was changed this week, so he's going to see what he could do for next week. We are definitely 100% going to be putting the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts this week. I will work on it with our incredible, wonderful producers, Sarkapels and Razor. We're giving them the round of a hand for once again.
Round of a hand, a round of a hand.
Round of a hand.
We could not do the show without them. Make sure you follow them at Sarkapels on Twitter and Razor _ on Twitter. That is you. So we will see you guys next week, same time, same place with Pansy. Anything you guys want to say?
Yeah, I like the idea with the pick'ems. We need a competition. Someone needs to create what the winner
A fantasy
gets
thing.
from the losers. Like, we need a point system where like the first game's kind of like 1
Okay.
point. You know, like
I'm on it.
Yeah, I like
that
this.
way
I'm on
Rod
it.
gets 0 points.
Yep.
I manage his Twitter account for a full month. Some shit like that.
Okay, well, Sean, as you saw on your
Oh,
stream
my
yesterday,
God.
I picked perfectly. You're the dumb one.
Let's just see
out
when
of
it
the two of
matters,
us.
Rod.
Yeah, don't worry. I will come out on top in terms of these pickups. Easy. Oh, and as we see, now we're going to work and go into Sao Paulo. Apparently, you two aren't too afraid to go to Brazil anymore. So,
Wait, who?
we're
I'm
gonna
the
make this
afraid
happen.
one?
No, not
Okay.
you. You are not.
He's calling me out.
Yeah,
as well, me and
I
Hiko.
am calling Sleepy out.
I'm just getting strays just the whole podcast.
We're going to be working on going to Brazil. Maybe, possibly, going to make this happen. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. See you next week.
Peace.
See
Peace
you.
out.